What's up, boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the Not So Subtle podcast. It's your boy, Coulter Potter. I'm here with Dane LaPointe.
Hello.
And
Spoopy.
Jordan Miller.
Hi.
We're here to talk about pop culture, a little bit of ghosts and ghoulies, a little bit of Predator. We watched the movie Predator tonight. It's our latest wacky film that we picked.
First one in a while.
I hope you guys watched it.
First one of season 2.
The first one of season 2. Last week was a double-size episode. How'd you guys feel about that?
It was a long one, but I think we, coming back from a month off, we had a lot to talk about, so it was necessary.
Yeah, it was a long one, but it didn't feel very long, I don't think.
It absolutely didn't, in the moment, feel very long at all.
Yeah, like, once I listened back, I was like, oh, wow, we talked about all this is only the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was split up into, like, movies and games, I feel like we said a lot about pretty much everything we talked about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Except for maybe the Snes Classic. Kind of glazed over that at the end a little bit, but...
It's okay.
It's okay.
Although I have a surprise for you guys.
Whoa. Whoa, hey, guys.
We will be talking about video games in a little bit here, but
Yes.
First, we're going to whet your appetite with
Careful.
an opener. Why should I be careful? What did I almost say?
Go ahead.
You almost said wet.
Wet.
When I heard wet, I got excited.
Okay. So yeah, the first thing we're going to talk about is a little question I came up with driving in the car. You know, a lot of thoughts come to you when you're driving to and from work. I'm sure you guys can relate.
Not all of them nice.
I get
Not
a
all
lot of
of them
anger.
nice.
I mean, look, traffic in our area is just, it's something, man. It's bad.
It's not good.
It's horrible.
I'm sure they're excited to hear about the ins and outs of our traffic situation.
No, but like, when you're in traffic, you think of podcast topics, you think of like what you would do to the person in front of you who just swerved and cut you off.
Moving on, Coulter.
So our topic is going to be, what is the worst looking game or movie that you can think of right now?
Right now?
Right
in your
now?
opinion.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
It's kind
What's the first thing that comes to your head? Shrek.
honestly,
Just
the
kidding.
Shrek game on the original Xbox, it's a good looking game, honestly.
It's a good looking
Just
game.
playing
I
the
didn't
movie.
think you were going to say it was good.
I mean, it looks like it's not photorealistic, so, it doesn't... It stands the test of time if it's not photorealistic.
Mm-hmm.
But the worst game, I mean... Alright, well, that's going to have to...
Someone's being rude.
Wait, we got this.
I'm going to say right now that any game like from the N64 PlayStation era inherently looks kind of bad.
Yeah, those games
Well,
absolutely
yeah.
do not hold up.
Because they're very
Graphic
they're very
visually.
polygonal.
Yeah.
That was when games started to do 3D, and they were still learning. We got there. But
Look, some stuff
didn't hold up.
PS2 still has games that look good that you could play today that would look pretty good. Like,
but they're artsy games.
that's
not
true.
artsy, but
it's
they're not photorealistic.
stylized. Yeah, if we're talking like Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, like that stuff looks. Honestly, if we played that on a PS2, it would look pretty good.
Yeah, I would be hard pressed to name a game from like the last 5 years that looks bad, because honestly, all games that come out now, they look really good. So
Yeah.
but
That was my classic test. Do we remember that? Does it look good, and can you play it forever?
Oh yeah.
I think was the second.
all games now look good for the most part. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of... I can't think of a recent one that I played that looks like trash, but there's definitely some old ones that... Actually, speaking of the Snes Classic, the original Star Fox, it was on Super Nintendo, but it has 3D graphics. Mm-hmm. It was supposedly a technological marvel in its time that the SNES was able to do 3D graphics, because this console came out like 1990, or 1990 or 89 or something. Mm-hmm. It runs at about 5 frames per second, and the ships are literally just like polygons, like they're just textures. They look awful.
Yeah.
So that's one that comes to mind recently that I've seen. But that is an old game, but also,
I think it's unfair to say old games.
Okay.
Like,
Can you think of a newer game then?
that's what I'm trying to think. Maybe like, I don't know. It has to be something on like the Wii, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of Wii games.
Because at the time, like, it was... Nintendo isn't all about graphics, but, like, at the time, it was in the same, like... Supposedly in the same league as the 360 and the PS3. Like, it was supposed to be, like, the third console of that generation, but it was so far behind. Like...
It was bad.
There was a game on there... Oh, my God. It's not Club Penguin. I know it's not Club Penguin, but it's, like... It's, like, a penguin, like, tower defense game where, like... I worked at GameStop, so I saw a lot of, like, used Wii games come by. And I'm telling you, this one looked terrible. It was like a...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was like a Fire Emblem or like a Final Fantasy Tactics style, like, tactical, like, snowball fighter game, but it was with penguins. I don't know what it was called, but it looked horrible. It literally looked like an N64 game.
One came to mind that I bought last summer that I think looks like absolute ass is Salt and Sanctuary.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a popular game, but to me when I played it, it has a hand-drawn art style in it, but it looks like an old Flash game to me, and it has awful film grain on it. The character creator actually just looks like a Flash game character creator, where you just have a silly little, like, ball head. You have, like, 4 facial hair selections, 4 colors to choose from, and it was awful looking. I actually stopped playing that game because I couldn't stand the art style of it. It was so just off-putting that I just put it down. I was like, yeah, I'm not. Like, this game is not interesting enough, and this art style is so, like, disgusting to me that I'm not going to play it.
I feel like there's things in Don't Crucify Me, the Persona series, that look kind of bad to me.
No.
Art-wise. It's like too much for my brain.
No.
Let me hit you with a worse example to kind of ease you into it. Beautiful Joe. Have you ever seen that game? That's just garish, like the colors in it.
It's really, again, that's played off as stylish. That game now certainly does not. It looks like muddy and just
any game that looks like muddy is like too much for me.
I can't really think of.
What about a movie?
Yeah, so for a movie, I didn't watch this movie, but I saw the last 10 minutes of it, and that was the latest Resident Evil movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With the classic, like, laser hallway scene where she has to do her acrobatic shit or whatever. It's offensively bad. It's horrible.
Whoever decided to make those movies... Whoever was cutting together that film had to have some sort of just thought in mind. I was like, I'm going to make this look like shit and cut it together. A 5-minute sequence in that movie probably has 700 cuts in it. It's just every single movement is a cut of the camera. And it's so bad.
I think that final scene that I watched in the laser hallway probably has more cuts in it than, like, the entirety of Gravity or, like, Children of Men or something like that. Like a really good movie. Just the complete opposite. It's horrible. It's like, I can't watch it. It makes me, like, I don't get motion sickness, but, like, if someone did, they would probably get sick from watching that, because the camera is flying every which way. There's, like, what was that rule you were talking about, Coulter? The rule of thirds?
Like, don't break the what is it called?
Like a continuity thing where people need to be.
It was like the 180-degree rule. Like, don't cross the line, I believe is what they call it.
Man, that movie.
Really bad.
Just forgot about that.
Yeah.
In the first, I didn't see the movie. I can only imagine how terrible the actual movie is. And then another example of that would be Taken 2 or 3. I don't know which one it was. It was on TV when I was at the hotel in LA, and I was watching, like, it was kind of in the background, and I would look up. It was the one with Forrest Whitaker.
Probably 3.
Yeah, I probably. I don't know. And there's one part where he meets his daughter in the bathroom or something, and he's like...
I haven't seen Taken 3.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I was whatever Taken movie it was.
Bad.
So bad.
There was a movie night where I was watching Liam Neeson's films, because I really wanted to watch Taken.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I watched Taken. What am I going to watch next? And then I watched Taken 2, because I was like, okay, I just want to continue this story. I want that. I want to refresh.
Obvious choice.
Obvious choice, Taken 2. And then I was like, There is such a thing as a Taken 3.
You want to watch Tak 3N?
Tak 3N.
Take Friend.
The Power of Juju. I could watch this right now. And
But
then
you didn't.
I saw I was looking at the related movies, and then there's a movie called Run All Night, which is, it has Liam Neeson's in it. Liam's Neeson's. And it has a bunch of other actors and stuff. So I decided to watch that.
And is it the one where he's on the plane?
No, that's Nonstop, which I also saw.
All in one night?
No.
Oh, okay.
Different night. That would
have been a wild-ass night. There's also, Walk Among the Buttstones or whatever?
Walk Among the Tombstones. I'm not sure why you said that.
I don't know.
That's the worst joke.
I just went for the gutter on that one.
You've beaten me with when I tried to do Wyoming.
Yeah, that was worse than the Wyoming.
Yeah, joke. My Wyoming joke.
No, that was much worse. That was really bad.
I literally was like stuttering through it. I guess that probably was worse. But yours was.
It was painful for all of us.
Almost as pointless.
It wasn't entirely pointless. Yeah, I mean those movies. So that I don't know if that quite. I'm gonna say it counts because it looks bad in a different way. It just visually is hard to watch because the editing is so bad, and the acting was pretty bad. Like, man, the color palette was weird. It was like all like. Not sepia tone, but it was like orangish and like it was gross. The movie was just bad.
It's interesting how like people use the color tones of movies. Do you guys prefer like blue temperatures or like yellow temperatures in movies? Like a Michael Bay would use a lot more like yellow, like sunlight looking stuff. Yeah, warmer stuff, and then like I was trying to think of a good example of the blue.
I like
David Lynch or something.
Or like
what was that Alien? Not the Alien movie we saw last year. Really good. Arrival. That's very blue.
Yeah, I think that might be.
So I like
except for the scenes where they're outside, like having fun. Anyways.
I like pretty much anything. Well, that's different for me because I like movies that that are like naturally lit. Like a lot of Roger Deakins stuff is really cool because, like in Skyfall, it's all across the board. There's that cool scene where he's in like the like skyscraper and there's that neon blue light or whatever and it's just their silhouettes, but then there's also that scene where he's in Hong Kong, I think it is, where he's going to that like the bar like on the boat or whatever.
We won't talk about the CG Komodo dragon.
Okay, the CG Komodo dragon is real bad, but like in that scene there's that classic shot where he's like sitting there just like all James Bondish on that boat and it's going down, there's like all those lanterns.
Yeah, that
like
looks good for sure.
There's a lot of like different color palettes in that movie.
It depends for me. Like you can do both and have them look really good.
Yeah. What was that movie that we watched?
There's a lot of them.
Seven. Seven is a good example of like the blue color palette.
So David Fincher does a lot of like, maybe not necessarily blue, but he does a lot of like darker, like, I guess, on the colder side of the palette.
I do really like how the Michael Bay movies, like Transformers and The Purge and stuff like that. I know he didn't do The Purge, but The Purge is like, they did it in the exact same visual style. But yeah, I really like that, how they lit those movies and like color graded them for some reason.
It's different. Yeah. I want to say it's my favorite, but it's not bad.
They exaggerate the colors for sure.
Yeah, it's very saturated.
Yeah. I feel like not a lot of movies go for saturated.
Yeah.
They like desaturate, if anything.
One game that comes to mind that I didn't particularly enjoy the look of just because it's very generic was Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah.
Like, that game has a really cool story, and I think the gameplay is, like, it's serviceable. There's a lot of, like, cool gameplay elements that they put in there, but every character in that game looked like, military man number 7.
The entire game looks generic as hell. Like, look at a screenshot for those games. They all just look like third-person shooter guy, military game.
If you see one of those, you're like, is this Ghost Recon? Like, is this Call of Duty? Is this, like, what is this? And so, yeah, it doesn't really have a very unique look to it, but that doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look...
It's bland.
Yeah, it's just generic. I can't really think of, like, a game necessarily that I've played recently that I didn't like the look of.
There's, it's not a game that I've played recently. In fact, I've never played this game, but the game Bubsy 3D, if you guys have ever seen this,
Bubsy 3D,
it's the worst looking game I've ever seen in my life. I might put some pictures up right now, but it's actually horrifyingly garish, like I was just talking about.
Garish.
Like, look at this, Dan.
Is that a PS1?
Holy shit, that does look horrible.
Is that a PS1
No, that one right there. Jesus.
PS1 game, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of stinkers in the PS1 era.
I'm going to go through, like, recently played games on PS4 and see if there's anything that comes to mind.
I mean, Bubsy is actually coming back. They are remaking it.
Not remaking it, making a new game. Is that the, like, Xbox thing?
I think it might have been Xbox exclusive.
Oh, wait, isn't that, like, something's Xbox. Tail? Furry's
that's
tail
Super
or
Lucky's
something?
tail.
Oh, Super Lucky's tail. Is that different?
Okay.
Yes.
So, this is more,
Super BB's tail.
This is more... Let me see if I can find an example.
No, please.
There's too many games in here. This is, like, very broad, but I'm going to call it Ubisoft on this one. I hate, like, the contrasting HUD and menus that Ubisoft and other, like EA does it a lot too, where the games, I don't know how to explain this exactly, like, the game has its own set style, but then when you go into the menu, it's, like, very futuristic, and it's, like, clean and polished, and there's, like, sparkles, and it looks like a HUD from, like a smart TV or something like that, where it's like, oh, this is so accessible, and
nice
it's so slick.
Panels.
Yeah, and it's, like, very, like, modern, and I hate that. Like,
it's a very Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed is a great example. The newer Far Cry's do that. Even in Far Cry Primal, like, that game, I didn't play that game. I saw videos of it, and it was just like that. It makes no sense why they have it like that. And to a certain extent, I hate to say it, but Shadow of War kind of has that in there too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really hate that.
Shadow of War, from what I played of it, and we'll get into this in our video game segment, for a game that comes out in this day and age, 2017, based on Lord of the Rings has a lot of really interesting locales to draw from. Shadow of War, in what I played, decided, like, now we're just going to stick with the gray-brown cave areas and, like, make that interesting, and then fails completely. Like, that's so fucking boring. Like, they did that in the first game, too. In the first area, in Shadow of Mordor, you're, like, at the gates of Mordor, it's just brown and gray and just bland shit all around you. And they did that again in this one at the start, and it's just so, like... Yeah. There's so many cool areas that you can go to, and they do go into some later, but, like, that game could have been way more interesting visually.
Yeah, I think we'll get into that, but I remember in the first game, the second area you go to is very green. There's like meadows and fields and stuff that looks really cool, and like lush mountains and trees. But the gray brown like Gears of War palette is not doing it for me anymore. And that's not a knock to Gears of War, because I actually like that.
I mean, say what you will about Gears of War, those games look fucking incredible.
They look insane.
But anyways.
Yeah. That's about all I got. I don't really have any specific examples for like an art style of a game that irked me or anything.
Yeah, it's honestly a hard question, because I feel like the first thing people do when they make a movie or game is like, okay, it has to at least look good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think people just respond to that stimuli like a lot.
Ooh, one thing I'll say, the game Fury. I hate the main character's design in that game.
Really?
I hate it.
I like it.
Fury.
Like, he's designed by the guy who did character designs in Afro Samurai.
So I like that. I like that art, but I don't like his hair, and I like his hair is weird as fuck, and I don't like how, I don't know, like his I haven't played that game that much, but the way his character is designed seems like it wants to go in two different directions, like a cool samurai guy and like a futuristic kind of like suave dude, but then his hair is like weird as fuck, and yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I think it works for anime. I don't think it works for 3D.
I was trying to remember if there were any like kids movies that just like look terrible.
Oh, what was the one that was we saw trailers for it.
Is that the one with the monkey?
Yes.
Man, what was that one called? I don't even know what that's called.
Oh my god, dude. Shit. That animation looked horrible.
Yeah, it was really bad.
That looked like VeggieTales.
This is going to be really bad if we can't think of the title. People are just going to be like, okay, I don't care.
I don't know what it was.
There's no way to even find it.
Just look up shitty kids movie monkey.
You'll find it.
Yeah, it's not hard to find.
It'll be on there.
No, I have no idea what that was called, but it was... Wait, was it like Lucky or something?
I'm looking up Monkey Space New Kids Movie. Spark a Space Tale.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was actually a good way to find it. That movie is horrible. From what I saw of the trailer.
It looks like dirt.
Which, that trailer I remember being really long. longer than most of the other ones that I actually wanted to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically what do you call it?
Zootopia?
Yeah, Zootopia, except in the space. And
it is,
looks
but
like a shite film.
And with a quarter of the budget.
Yeah, I don't know. It just looks like one of those, like, I'm surprised I didn't go straight to DVD unless it did.
Let's see. Let's check out the Rotten Tomatoes here.
I'm sure it's bad.
29%.
It's 14%. There's no consensus.
Oh my god.
That's bad.
Did this movie already come out?
Yes, it did.
Yes, 100%.
It came and went.
It came and no one watched
Wide
it.
release.
No one. Okay, so it. Wow.
Box office.
It just failed.
190. Wait, does that say 190,000? Wait, hold on. We need to figure out
God.
exactly how much this movie made.
That can't
If
be
it's
possible.
100, that's not. There's no way.
Okay.
One theater could make that much money.
I guarantee if that movie made $190,000, everyone working that movie is homeless now.
Oh my god. Okay, this says budget 40 million, box office 790,000.
That's so bad.
40 million.
I've never seen a kids movie make less than $1 million.
That's
like,
really bad, dude.
That's
with a wide
awful.
release.
That's bad.
That's really
It looked
terrible.
horrible. It looked
did.
generic.
You guys need to look at the trailer for that movie and tell me that it looks good.
Yeah, honestly, anyone who hasn't seen that, it's just picture in your mind before you watch it the most generic possible kids movie that you can think of, and it's like the 3 bars below that.
Imagine Zootopia, except it has a monkey in it, which doesn't help it at all.
Imagine Zootopia, but the people who are doing the animation for it drank like 3 gallons of drain cleaner, and they're working on like Windows 98 machines, and that's what you get.
It honestly doesn't look terrible.
I think
visually. The elements don't really go together that well, but it doesn't look.
It just bothers
I
me.
feel
It doesn't
like I
look
specifically remember in the trailer thinking, "Wow, this looks really bad." At some point,
I mean,
at some point in there,
the graphics like don't look bad, but like the colors and like the subjects
Like the
don't
art just
look
looks
that good.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
anyways.
Last thing, I remembered that Jimmy Neutron, when it first came out, it looked fine at the time, but now Jimmy Neutron kind of looks
Yeah,
super,
Bad.
like, it looks not fully rendered.
it looks bad.
When I think of Jimmy, it does look horrible, but when I think of Jimmy Neutron now, all I can think of is the like the shitty like YouTube poop.
Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron.
What? I don't know about that.
Okay, no, we have to show you the video once we're done filming
It's like
this.
a shitty like Gary's Mod rendition of Jimmy Neutron, and it's comedy gold.
It's hilarious.
Jimmy Neutron. Wait, is that the one where he goes on the couch with his dad, and then like his
and his
dad
dad has a
says
shotgun,
some stuff?
and he's
Yeah.
like, "Jimmy, your mom is dead."
Yeah.
yeah.
It's weird and funny.
The pizza is aggressive.
I was
There's
gonna
so many good
say,
quotes from that.
I was gonna say, like, things that I think are just the dumbest things and look terrible are any of the Gary's Mod or Source Filmmaker like pieces of trash that people put out on the internet.
I actually really like this.
I hate those.
I
Some
love,
are funny.
dude. Shrek is love, Shrek is life is a classic.
Okay, that's great,
It's a
but that's the best one, and also it has Shrek in it, so
That's
it's no
true.
competition.
So it's automatically great. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
but anything with like the characters from Team Fortress 2 or the Left 4 Dead
Yeah.
characters or like any one from Half-Life or anything.
There's
like
a
that.
lot of bad Gary's
Gary's
stuff.
Mod compilation or whatever it's called, or like
There's some good stuff in there, but
there's some funny stuff in there. Honestly,
It's
Let someone
also
else
for
find it for
the
you.
smallest children on demand.
Yeah.
It's literally like Stick Fighter,
yeah.
like old Flash
Hey,
game
dude,
stuff.
stick fighting. Don't get me started on how lit that was, dude.
I mean, that was kind of lit because it actually had good like production value.
Yeah.
But this stuff,
Well
I guess
animated.
it has. I guess the Source Filmmaker sometimes it has good production value, but it's the most bottom of the barrel like content you could ever.
Yeah.
It is. It's like the internet. Yeah, it's just like the scum of the internet gathered into one video.
It's basically the equivalent of the old Flash movies that we used to watch for like the new generation.
On like Newgrounds and
Yeah.
like
It's the new Newgrounds.
yeah.
I don't even know if it's probably not even like the Source Filmmaker
it's not
stuff
on
is
the
probably
same-
dead now.
Well, yeah, probably, but it's
Yeah.
also not on the same level as the Flash animations were that we saw.
Yeah, I mean the Flash
Nothing will match
animations were
Hey
pretty
Papa
much
Smurf.
were
You got
probably
that
like
right.
the that was like the dawn of the internet too. So it was
Yeah.
more novel.
yeah,
We are the millennial generation.
we've watched the internet become what it is today. It's fascinating.
thank you, Al Gore.
Thank you,
Yeah, I
Mr.
thank Al Gore
Gore
every day that he invented
You
the
pray to
internet.
him.
I thank Al Gore for creating Papa Smurf.
The
All the internet comes from Al Gore, so thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for Albino Black Sheep, my favorite website.
Thank you so much for miniclip.com.
Good stuff.
And
all
the other
E-Bombs
websites.
World.
Yeah, E-Bombs World.
Thank you for E-Bombs World, Al.
Al. May I call you Al?
On a first name basis. He's a cool guy.
Cool.
All right. Well, that was okay. I don't know if we came up. We got some good stuff by the end. We didn't really. It's possible that we should have had something loaded and ready, but
I just couldn't think of a specific. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought going in, I was like, I could definitely think of something that looks like shit. But honestly, a lot of things look really good. So
yeah.
It's hard.
If we think of something,
it was hard to be negative on this
we'll
one.
Call it out. Yeah. So
I'm sure I'll think of something.
The next thing we're going to talk about is a movie that doesn't look bad.
Oh.
It's called Predator.
Oh.
It does not look bad.
Yeah, it does. It's not like the best looking movie on the planet Earth, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's shot in a nice locale. It's,
I wonder where it was shot, actually.
What'd you say?
I wonder where it was shot.
It's a good question. So
The
we
jungles
watched
of Bolivia.
Predator, the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Predator the First.
Another one of our wacky films.
Yes.
If you guys didn't know, we have a list of films that every week we pick from a hat randomly one to watch the next week and review. So this week we watched Predator. It is a film where an alien drops down from a spaceship.
True.
And it looks exactly like Star Wars, the opening shot.
Also true.
You
It
like
even
see
has
the logo.
music that sort of sounds like Star Wars.
Exactly, yeah. It has an orchestral score that sounds similar to John Williams. You see the Predator logo come up, and then it fades away, and
Into
then
the stars.
Yeah, into the stars, and there's stars all around, and then it pans over, or like a spaceship. It pans, and you see a spaceship come towards, and then it like goes by the camera, and the camera follows it, and then you see a planet, which is classic Star Wars. And
Presumably Earth. It is Earth.
Yeah, it is Earth, and then it drops off like a pod from a spaceship onto Earth, and that's literally what happens in Star Wars, like Episode 4. They drop off the pod with R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Well, I mean, the opening shot is the destroyer.
Yeah,
but yeah,
but that does happen in the same movie.
It's true. This movie came out in 87.
87.
So it's not quite an oldie, but more of an oldie than some movies we've watched.
Getting up there.
It's
30 years.
Yeah, we've watched older on this list.
I want to like make a list chronologically of all the movies.
That would be fun.
That'd
be good to know.
I'm guessing our oldest one is probably Citizen Kane.
Maybe, I guess.
Vertigo?
Yeah, that's probably. I don't know.
Maybe they're probably close.
The oldest one is probably Alien.
The oldest one is actually Leon the Professional.
That movie was created at the dawn of time.
It's a black and white art
Fuck
film.
off.
Do you guys have any expectations going into Predator? Do you feel any sort of, Did you have any sort of like good relationship with the Predator series at all before this, or?
So I'd only seen Predators, which I think we were talking earlier. I said I hated that movie. I don't hate that movie. It's not that bad, but to me it felt like another action movie. Like it didn't, for having the Predator name associated with it. I feel like Predator. There's a couple things you think of when you think of like seminal movie characters. You think of Predator. You think of Alien, Freddy Krueger, Jason, like Michael Myers, like all those big names. So Predators just didn't really seem to live up to that kind of hype for me. And Predator is, I think, pretty widely regarded as one of the best action movies ever.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a lot of people consider it to be like a pioneering action film. Mm-hmm. So maybe not the best ever, but it was very important for its time. So yeah. I didn't expect it to be like, my favorite movie of all time, but I expected big things out of it.
When did Terminator 2 come out? Do we remember?
I think it was like early 90s or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
It might have been. It was definitely 90s. I don't think it was late 90s.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, I want to say like 92.
I want to say 99.9.
What about you, Coulter? Do you have any feelings on this series?
Terminator 2 was 91.
Okay.
The Terminator was 84. Okay, so Arnold was probably established as like an action movie dude with the Terminator, I'm assuming, and then 3 years later he did this movie, Predator.
Yeah. Oops. I don't know. I mean, it's a pop culture icon for sure. I didn't really I may have never watched this movie. Like, I would have never probably seeked out this movie. Is that the right? Sought out. I would have never sought out this film had I not been thrust upon it. Yeah, I don't know. What was I going to say? Yeah. It's not... Yeah, I would have never watched it otherwise. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I felt going to this movie how I kind of feel with all the relatively older movies, and that is I'm going to be prepared for it to be somewhat of a slow movie, because that's just how things happen to be. This one, kind of the same. It is still an action movie, but it's an old action movie, and it kind of shows.
Yeah.
That's what I was prepared for. I liked Predators. I think Predators is... If you watch... The Predators movie came out like 5 years ago or something. I think is a pretty decent action movie, and like it's a pretty good representation of like the Predator, the actual alien in there. Like there's more Predators in that movie. There's more action. They're more intimidating in that one. I think it actually is pretty good, but...
I'll probably need to watch it again.
What movie is that in this like sequence of Predator movies?
I want to say it's the third one.
Third or fourth, I'm not sure how many there are, but it's good.
And I also don't know how if you would count the like Alien versus Predators movies. Like I don't know where all these kind of fit together.
Yeah, I think that was the other thing I was going to say, is that I don't know like the lineage of the Predator movies, like even as much as Alien, which I barely know also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Predator is not as... The name Predator doesn't hold as much regard as Alien. Those movies are classics. Not. Predator is a decent action film, and I don't think it's ever been anything more than that.
Yeah. I thought this movie was... I don't think it did any particular aspect of it better than any other movie. Like, movies have done everything about this movie way better. I don't know if it's like this movie like did something first or something like that. I don't really know if that's true. Like someone could make that argument, but
I feel like maybe using like the heat vision was kind of novel back then. It's still kind of a neat trick now, but it gets played out, and also heat vision's not super exciting.
My other complaint about the movie is that they hammer every single thing about it so hard and so long that it like kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, I wish the movie got to kind of the ending where Arnold is fighting the Predator is like that could have happened way earlier and probably should have happened way earlier. Like that was the coolest part of that film, is seeing him like actually fight back against a Predator. And it takes so long for them to kind of do anything with it. And also, the invisibility special effect looks real bad now.
Yeah.
It looks
it does
terrible.
Look pretty bad.
The actual Predator itself is, a real suit, so it looks decent. And I wish they probably should have just used that more. But
yeah, and the heat effect doesn't really look that good either.
No,
it's like low quality.
But,
it's like hard to believe that some advanced civilization would use such a crappy like heat signature like vision.
But I don't know. It has some neat things. Like I really like the scene towards the end where Arnold is getting ready to fight back, and he grabs the torch and then just screams into the forest as he throws it down to lure the Predator in. I was like, yes, just go in.
After
Arnold,
that happened, you were just like, that was lit.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But
I appreciated this. I mean, again, I think I mentioned this when we were watching, but so much more care was put into these movies.
Yeah.
Like even though it's not my favorite movie in the world, this Face Off is definitely in that list. Alien, they shot what I'm assuming is on location somewhere. Like it must have been a real jungle that they were in, because it looked incredibly real. And there was they just blew their load on pyrotechnics and like
gun
just bro, like the movie was very bro, like he's spouting off one-liners. He like throws a knife into a guy against the wall. He's like, stick around.
That's
and there's just
good old
there's
Arnold
just
right
so
there.
good. Like the lines that he says are just ridiculous, and like
they're pretty funny.
Yeah, and I think like they had to be aware of that. Like it's very self-aware at points, which I like. But yeah, I don't know. I appreciated the effort that went into this movie, and a lot of older movies. That's why I like a lot of older movies, because they don't make him like that anymore.
If one thing to say about like the old movies is they do use a lot of practical effects, so that
and they still hold up because mostly because of it.
Yeah, like this movie, the only part that looks dated really is the special effects. Those don't hold digital. Up, but the explosions look fine. I mean, they're all just real pyrotechnics and stuff.
Yeah.
And, they're in a real place. They're using just,
There's a lot of stunt work of people jumping off of stuff with explosions and like.
Honestly, it's a little silly in this because they use a lot of cuts and like people being blasted and then like flying like ragdoll.
It is goofy, but it is also just like the epitome of 80s action.
Yeah,
like
explosions
there's
and
something,
people flying.
Yeah, there's something cool about it. I don't know. I enjoyed this movie. It was not. I don't think I'd put it in like the pantheon of legendary action films that maybe some people would, but maybe it's just because I'm watching it now instead of in '87. I don't know, but overall, I just felt like there was a lot of like care put into it for an action movie.
I do wish that, and this is one of the reasons I like Predators, is because it focuses actually a lot on those predators. They're like their story is that like they are the best hunters in the galaxy or whatever, the universe. And so you don't really get to see the actual predator in this hunt that much. Like it's a lot of him just kind of invisible in the trees and then shooting people. They do the classic like tri-laser dots on people, and that's a cool effect. But I wish we could see more.
Yeah, the tri-lasers is cool.
Like from the predator's perspective of hunting, because that's what they do, and that's fun to see them kind of hunt man.
But Jordan, we saw the predator's perspective for about cumulatively 30 minutes of radar footage.
Yeah, and and in that I just wish they were doing a little more with that, because the movie is just slow at parts, and the end picks up. The end is exciting because they're fighting and they're in a cool area. There's lots of explosions and hunting each other, but it takes a little bit too long to get there.
I think if the cast of characters was bigger, I think they would have had more potential for like slowly picking off people one by one, because like once the first person dies, which I think was, who was it? The guy that goes after the girl and then he gets like his throat
glasses
slit.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like as soon as he dies, they're like, well, we're getting hunted, guys, and they just like instantly they're like, okay, there's not that many people here. Like, what the fuck else would it have been? So then they realize that like they start to piece it together and they're like, okay, well something's picking us off one by one. We need to like figure this out. But if it was like a platoon of people and like slowly like it was getting picked apart or something, like maybe I don't know, because the scenes where they showed the predator like stalking them from the trees and stuff was actually pretty cool because it built tension without you ever seeing it.
Yeah.
But then when you finally see him for the first time, it's him like injured in the tree, and you're like, okay, well, he's not that intimidating. Like you get that he's supposed to be, but I didn't really get the feeling like, oh shit, this guy's a badass. It was kind of like, there he is. That we finally know who's hunting them, but it wasn't like that scary or anything. So
yeah, I feel like nothing about him made him incredibly intimidating because God, I keep losing my train of thought as soon as I start talking. I felt like he didn't look very agile. He looked like kind of bulky. Yeah, he like lumbers around, and then like the effects don't look good. So
yeah, I think that's due to him,
the digital effect,
being a human in a big suit, and like it just doesn't.
Yeah,
it's hard to make them look actually like they're hunting people that well when they're clomping around in a giant, like with giant shoes and stuff. And it does. One of the other parts I actually liked is at the very end when he gets in the face off with Arnold and the predator takes off his mask and you get to see the actual predator face, and like, cool. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like as an alien, it's kind of scary, and that's just a fun little.
The concept of that is cool because at that point the hunter's like, or the predator's like, you know what, fuck it, like we're gonna do this man to man, or like man to alien, I guess, and he like is completely stripped of most of his technology at that point, and it's just them like having a.
It's one of the other things I like
duel.
about Predator, just their motif is that they are just hunters, but they want to have an exciting game. So he's like, oh, they're not going to kill you, they're not going to attack you if you don't have a weapon.
Unarmed, yeah,
like,
no sport.
There's no sport in that. So like And like he goes up to Arnold's like, okay, you've shown that you're a fighter. I'm gonna fight you now, 1-on-1, and like show you the respect, and like, that's a cool little thing. But
that is cool
the
because
exact thing that I was talking about before, where it's like they don't when people don't show respect to their the people they kill, I don't like it. And this is the exact thing where it's like, I respect you.
I respect that. Yeah, because he literally has him up against like the wall, just holding him, and he's just beating the shit out of him. And he's like, you know what? I'm not gonna kill you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fight you.
And then when the Predator literally says, I respect you, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There was a
you
moment
loyal
at the end when Arnold he kills him. He's like, "What are you?" It sounds like the Predator almost utters "Predator," but it's in a very guttural.
I thought
tone.
That's not what
I thought
he
mimicked. I thought
yeah, he said like,
Arnold. I thought he was like,
"What the hell are you?"
Is that what he was doing? That's what. Then my second was like, okay,
because then
like
because then when he is running away, when Arnold's running away, he starts laughing, but he's mimicking the laughter. He's like. They show it in each time he's like stalking them from the trees. Every time one of them is talking, he does that little decoder thing or whatever, where he's like taking like he's like learning their language. And then at the very end, when he does that laugh, it's the same laugh that he did in the camp when they killed all those guys.
Wait, when did he laugh?
When the black guy was like, or not the black guy, the Native American dude, when he was laughing after the guy told him the joke about like the like big pussy or whatever it was, where he said it echoed, and then he was like, oh, he did that laugh. Like he
was that the same?
He took that voice clip and like.
Yeah, I was wondering what that laugh was. I was like, is the Predator just laughing right now?
But how did he use the laugh if he doesn't have the mask? Isn't that where he gets his technology and stuff
that's
from?
What I thought too, but he still had his little like dual disc on. His little he had like his little like space gauntlet, so I think he was like doing something with that. I don't know. He's wearing like some futuristic suit, so probably something from that. But I think that's what he was doing. He was like emulating their voice at the end. Because there was no way that voice was coming out of like the Predator himself.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
He was just laughing up a storm.
Yeah, he was going crazy. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not his voice. That must be someone else.
I was gonna say with the whole practical effects and whatnot. I feel like the era of movies from like the beginning of the format to when they started doing predominantly digital like effects and stuff like that. I feel like as time goes on and like that gap becomes bigger and bigger, people are gonna like look at that timeline as like the golden age of like filmmaking. And like you can say it for any emerging art form. Like you could even say it for the internet or whatever. Like there was a golden age of the internet kind of when it first came out, that people were trying to do like interesting creative things that like later on people didn't really try to do as much. Like I feel like wholesome things happen like on YouTube. I kind of think of that because the most popular video on YouTube was the evolution of dance, which was just a guy at a talent show like doing the evolution of dance over time. And like now it's like, okay, like the Fast and the Furious song is #1 on YouTube or whatever. So like, yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on emerging art form or like art forms over time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see that when, again, and I say this kind of thing a lot, but I think it's because it holds true. Movies like John Wick, movies like Mad Max, that pride themselves on their actual special effects and their practical work, those movies stand out a lot because they're not using those just... Like, I feel bad saying, like, oh, the easy way out is they can just use CGI, or they can use digital special effects. Mm-hmm. But, like, that stuff doesn't have nearly as much of an impact when you see it when it's real. And so like all these when
it's really happening.
All these old movies are using real stuff because it just didn't have that technology back then anyways. And so it just I feel like bad about the state of movies where it's rare for a movie to be like, "Oh, that had really good effects." Like we're in an age where we have access to all that stuff, and like I wish we just did it more. Yeah. Which is why movies like John Wick, movies like Mad Max, even Blade Runner has a ton of like practical work in there, and it adds way more to the immersion and just quality of the movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like back in the day that's why I kind of gravitate towards, or I look back fondly on those movies even though I didn't grow up with them, but I look at that and I think like, especially if you watch behind the scenes stuff, like The Thing is a good example. I read that apparently he the dude who did the work on the thing, he worked like 70-hour work weeks or something crazy for the entire duration of the shoot for a long time. And then when the movie was finally done, he had to check himself into the hospital for like mental exhaustion. Like he had like a mental breakdown because he was so tired of working just like weeks on end, like months straight on this movie. Yeah. And like you definitely see, I don't know, there's something cool about that era because they didn't have these computers that could just churn out like a galaxy or like you know, some kind of crazy like alien dude. So they're like, okay, how do we do this? And then they just come up with really clever ideas and like use their like human ingenuity to make effects that seem magical. Like apparently in Blade Runner, the first one, when it shows like that red glint in their eye, they had to come up with some weird like mirror camera mechanism where they basically mirror like a light that they're shining onto like just a reflective piece of something, and like very carefully aim it at their eyes while they're filming the scene. And like that kind of stuff, it's not just a computer that did that. Like that was someone literally being like, okay, we have to hold it at like 75 degrees and like do all this crazy shit. Like that's so much cooler than just like the Marvel movies are cool with those effects, but when you see that, you're like,
nothing I'm seeing
Benedict Cumberbatch is not in space right now, and like, fighting this giant crazy demon guy. Like that's a bad example, but like it's just not as exciting, especially in movies like even like Civil War, when you're watching that, when they have that stairwell scene where they're just like people are flying across the room and everything. All of that stuff is just actually happening. Of course, they're on wires and stuff, but like all of that stuff is real.
Like there are diminishing returns to seeing amazing CGI visuals. Like that's even true in like video games. I remember listening to someone talk about Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, which is the smaller like Uncharted DLC, and like it looks fucking incredible. But also, you know, I've seen that in Uncharted 4. Like again, I would, if I played Uncharted Lost Legacy, I would be like, oh, this looks really cool. But also, it's just like when you get hit with those amazing just digital like special effects and visuals over and over and over again, it just makes each time you say just like, yeah, all right. Like that's great. Yeah, I've seen this again. Yeah. Like it doesn't have just the same effect as, you know, just seeing something real. That's amazing to you. But
you have to somehow, when you're doing the digital effects, you have to somehow top it each time, which is like growing harder and harder because you're just getting basically more photorealistic, and the returns are quite diminished.
And then you enter the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something special about these kinds of movies. Even though this isn't the best movie I've ever seen in my life, it has that movie magic that the 80s and even like the 70s probably and like mid 90s probably had in spades. And I feel like we see less of that. That's why Mad Max stands out so much to me. And John Wick. And
there's a lot of... You guys both said Mad Max, but there are a lot of digital effects like in that movie. Like all the backgrounds are digital.
No. Yeah. But
but you wouldn't know that unless you read it.
For me, it's the like actual stunt work and stuff that they're doing. That's most like that's real, and you can see that's real. Because even, you know, like watch, like you brought up Civil War, the Marvel movies. Like the reason I like Winter Soldier is because those fight scenes just look brutal and realistic because they mostly are. They're just hand to hand stuff like right in front of you. Civil War is just fucking CGI suits flying around just doing shit.
Well,
like, you know what? That's
not all
fine.
of it.
Most of it, and it looks even like it just none of it looks that real because like Tony Stark is a CGI suit, Spider-Man is a CGI suit, everyone is a CGI thing, and it's just they're not real. And it becomes it's not easy. I mean, it is easy to tell that because you know like, okay, that's not a real person, that's CGI, and it's hard for me to just wrap my head and say like immerse myself in that when it just is at odds with plenty of other Marvel movies and like the sets and stuff like that. It's just
I don't know. When you watch Mad Max, like even in the behind the scenes, they're talking about how they storyboarded the entire movie. Like they had the script, but then they had like a wall of all the frames. They're like, okay, we have to do this. And then when it came time to do like, what was it? There was the scene where he's on like that giant pole that's going across like the two oil rigs or whatever, and George Miller, the director, was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, there's no way that we're going to have someone do that. And then the stunt coordinator was like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to figure it out. And then it was, like, apparently one of the most dangerous stunts ever, but they had to, like, they used all kinds of like ways to calculate exactly how to do it with like different harnesses and like the speed of the two vehicles and like all this kind of crazy stuff. And then they actually ended up doing it. And when you see it in the movie, you're like, holy shit, Tom Hardy is actually like flying across two moving oil tankers in the desert. And it literally happened. Like, that was a real thing that happened. And he probably could have died. Yeah. Like that part where he is like, he's in the truck and then he gets like shoved out of the truck and he's like hanging on and his face is like 2 inches from the dirt or whatever, or the sand. Like, that actually was real too. And that was just Tom Hardy doing that. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so many scenes in that movie where you're watching it and you feel real tension, probably because a lot of that stuff is actually happening.
Yeah. Someone is actually going to die.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, Tom Hardy is actually dead from that movie.
He's replaced by a clone.
No, but yeah, like, with just watching that movie, there's something that it feels completely different than any other movie that I've seen probably in my lifetime.
I think that movie is like, all the main stuff is like super practical and cool. But it's like kind of punched up with digital effects. A lot of movies now are kind of just like punched up and like made more shiny by digital effects, and you can kind of see it.
I think a lot of like the detail on like the there's like mountains added in the background and stuff just because they're in the middle of nowhere, but like all of the vehicles and like the things are real.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, and obviously like that weird twister tornado hurricane thing that happens, like obviously not real, but still looks pretty cool. Doesn't look that bad.
Should we give our reviews of Predator?
Sure.
Coulter?
I honestly don't think you need to watch this movie. I guess if you wanna know more about Predator, watch Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger movie if you like that. Yeah, I don't think it's a classic war movie. Like, I don't think it's a classic, or I don't think it's the best war movie, like the best action movie, even the best like Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But yeah, it's, if you're like having a marathon, you want to see all of that type of stuff, then this is worth it. There's good stuff in there. The filmmaking is good, but I think overall it didn't quite come all together into like a classic movie.
If you want to see young Arnold, check this movie out.
True.
I always am just kind of amazed when I see young Arnold Schwarzenegger because I'm so used to seeing his old face now. I'm just like, oh, he was actually a young guy once. I forget that.
Yeah, and also some people that you just think of as old forever.
Yeah. I think I would probably give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. It's got some decent parts in it. Again, not the best Arnold movie you're going to watch, not the best action movie, like older action movie either, but it's got some decent stuff in there. The ending scene, I think, ending act really is pretty good. It takes way too long to get there, and the stuff in the middle is kind of not great, but overall, it's decent.
I'm gonna give it a C+, which is probably, I mean, probably like a 70.
Sure.
Like a 7.
70.
So yeah, C7. So yeah, C+. I think it's, there's no reason not to watch this movie. I feel like if you enjoy filmmaking, if you enjoy the 80s, if you want to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger just say a few one-liners and kill some people, if you want to see some cool explosions, definitely worth a watch. If you miss the way movies used to be made, this is a good movie to watch.
If you want to see big dudes shoot big guns, this is the movie for you.
Yeah, if you just want to stare at Arnold Schwarzenegger's just bulging biceps for like
the man has ridiculous arms.
It's ridiculous. He doesn't look real. Actually, I think they used CGI on his arms. That was, but it held up pretty well.
That's true.
Dude, when he goes up to his old friend, can't remember his name. Dylan. In the bar, like one of the opening scenes of the movie, and then they go up and they like dap, basically like do a handshake.
They go like,
and then they put their arms into an arm wrestling competition like stance, and it just zooms in on both their biceps, just like
and it's just like, and then you're like, all right, we're about to go on Mr. Toad's wild ride with this one.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know. Overall, I liked it. I wanted to love it.
Yeah,
But did you?
No, I didn't. I liked it. I just mean like with the hype and with some of the things they did, I was like, okay, well, there's signs of greatness in there, but overall, it was aight.
Yeah,
I'll say it wasn't bad. I won't call it bad.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It was the worst looking movie I've ever seen. No.
What do you think the worst looking movie that we've watched so far is?
All right, let's silently look at the board while we do this.
I'm gonna say that it was probably
kidding. Dazed and Confused.
I mean, Clerks didn't look good, but we didn't really watch that.
I'm gonna go
Bill and Ted's.
Stop.
Man, I don't know.
I feel like Scanners is the movie that I least care about and remember.
Yeah, but I feel like Scanners at least had some absolutely ridiculous...
the visuals were just insane.
Body horror in there, and that gives it a one-up over some of the other stuff I've seen. But honestly, a lot of the movies we've seen have relatively good like cinematography and art in them, so it's kind of hard to say that.
Princess Mononoke.
Yeah. No.
Fuck off.
I honestly, like, it was purposely kind of, like, some of the, I don't know, some of it was a little ugly on purpose. Like, in terms of, like, spooky, ugly, like the characters themselves were, like, kind of, like, you know, big monsters, like, scary.
There's, I mean... To me, people rant and rave about Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki's art. I've seen better looking artwork. Like his stuff is very good, but there's definitely a datedness to a lot of the animation and old anime that you see. Like they're just not, the characters aren't quite as detailed. They don't have a lot of visual like detail on their face and stuff as a lot of the newer stuff that you can find. Even some older stuff. Slightly better detail on there, but it looks good in motion still. So
I just like how it's a little storybook. It's a little anime storybook.
But it's not cute.
I think it's pretty cute.
You think?
Spirited Away.
It's not even like close to the most cute out of the Ghibli movie. It's like the least good looking movie.
That's not true.
Least cute looking movie for sure.
I thought it was really creative, like in their designs of everyone, like the situations that they were in, but I didn't think it like looked very good, in my opinion. I think it was one of my least favorite movies.
I think we should probably stop before I get angry.
All right. Should we move on to the video? Or I guess we should say, has anyone watched any other like stuff this week, like movies or TV or anything?
Can't say that I have recently, at least.
Recently, when I've been going to bed, I rearranged my room, which I told you guys about, but now I have a pretty good view.
Tell us more about that.
That has almost nothing to do with what I'm about to say, but the only reason I say that is because now I have a better view of my TV from my bed. So, like, recently I've been trying the whole thing that some people have mentioned where they're like, oh, I can't go to sleep unless I have something playing on the TV. And so I just, like, recently I've been throwing my PS4 on, setting it to shut down, and, like, however long, and put it on like
sleep
Hulu
mode or whatever.
Yeah, and so I've been putting it on Hulu, and this week I watched I watched a decent amount of it. I also fell asleep and it kept auto playing for a while, but Samurai Champloo, which I've already watched. Okay. But it was a nice, like, I've seen that a lot, so I can just throw it on and I know every episode. But I am pleasantly reminded at how great that show is.
Fantastic.
The music is really great. Even just like sitting there and listening to the music, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that theme. Like that's the theme that plays when something sad is happening, or like that's the music that plays when they're doing a lit battle sequence. And it also is a very heartwarming anime. It's a feel good anime. It's feel good.
There's a lot of killing involved.
No, there's
in
a
that
lot
show.
of killing. There's a lot of killing, but it's feel good and like the themes with like something about like Watanabe's stuff with his characters and like their relationships is really cool. Like there's a lot of parallels with Bebop there, which I really like. But yeah, great anime.
I actually, when I go to bed, I listen to a specific episode of Table Talk by SourceFed. Like really? I just have one specific episode that I put on like as I'm going to bed, just to have like literally background noise, like people talking like incredibly quietly.
Which episode is it?
It's an episode with Mike Falzone, William Haynes, and Sam Basher. It's one of the newer ones. It's not like super entertaining or anything. I like it just because they're just talking and like there's no weird like noises. Like I tried some episodes of Table Talk, but there's like randomly a loud scream like in the middle of it or something like that, and I'm like, I can't do that.
So you're not listening to it because it bores you to sleep.
No, but okay. It's just people talk. It could probably work with any podcast, but it's like I already know. I already know how it sounds and everything. Do you have any bedtime rituals similar to that?
I tuck myself into bed and go to sleep.
Yeah. I figured not.
I listen to the sound of my own thoughts as I go to bed, so.
The whole, like, having the TV on when I go to bed thing is... I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Honestly, I don't like that at all. That I can sometimes hear the TV of, like, my family if I go to bed before them and the TV's playing. Shit pisses me off because it's loud.
That actually
and I want to go to bed.
I almost always am the last person to go to bed, and I realized that if I wasn't, I would actually dislike it a lot because I have trouble like falling asleep if there's like any noises happening.
My brain can't, like, I'll be sleeping and it'll be like in the living room or in another room, and I can just hear the TV or hear the characters talking. I'm just like, all right, I try to go to bed, and then my thoughts start going to sleep, and then I hear them talking, and I'm like, well, you just ruined.
And you like try to kind of hear what they're saying.
Like, oh, what episode of whatever show is this? I'm just, God damn, I need to go
thinking
sleep.
Too much. Yeah.
So yeah, I like to sleep in complete and utter silence.
I would be interested to try like an ambient noise.
Ooh,
sound of rain.
I've done that actually.
Yeah.
There's this app that you can download. If you just look up like sleep sounds or something like that, I think it's one of the top ones. But but like you can basically choose like an ambient. Somebody there.
Is that the boogeyman? Is there someone outside?
There's someone here.
Who's in there?
No, show yourself.
Really put you to sleep.
Grabbing a bat, like the sound of just
the sound of like an aluminum bat scraping against
a sound of like a door knock.
Yeah,
the sound of like the door latch like shaking as someone's trying to like
the sound of like footsteps on like a wood floor.
The sound of like a shotgun loaded.
No.
Go to bed.
Like a knife.
The sound of a man being killed.
Yeah. The sound of their life leaving their body.
The sound of a chain just rattling across the floor.
All incredibly soothing.
Put you to sleep real quick.
I just go to my local Spirit Halloween store and just buy one of the spooky
just
CDs.
Their soundtrack that they're
playing. Yes. And then there's like bubbling.
We're coming.
Bubbling.
Yeah, so all that. That's all I got.
Yeah, so that's what I listen to.
No, but you can choose like an ambient track, and then you can choose sound effects to go along with it. So I did one that was like, it was like not piano, but it was almost like a lute, like a kind of like a harp kind of thing. It was really like really light though. It was really quiet.
A string
like
instrument.
What they were playing for Fluffy when he was asleep in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Remember when there was a harp playing to soothe him?
Could you have brought up a more specific
like
point of an instrument being played in
yes.
that scene?
I mean, it was just a harp.
Okay, yeah, like I don't remember exactly what that sounded like, but we'll go with yes. But yeah, it had that, and then I chose like light rain, like sort of like hitting like a window kind of sound.
That's definitely
which was definitely nice, and then there was like
and then chains rattling,
like and then Jacob Marley coming out of hell to meet us in the living room.
Who?
Now Jacob Marley, Christmas Carol.
What? Oh, okay.
The evil.
You always say that, and I never like know who that is. I always have to ask.
Yeah, and then the other one was
Scrooge.
like it's like whistling wind, sort of like not howling wind, like nothing creepy, but you can just kind of hear like a faint like shh.
Like the howling wind from PUBG when you're on the foggy map.
When you're on not that's scary.
It's definitely a little scary ambient, but I feel like
creepy,
it could
dude.
be soothing.
When you hear that noise and then you see like a shadowy figure in the distance, you're like, "There's a man over there."
There's a man on the way.
You're getting ready to kill.
Just the sound might be pleasant, but when there's fog and visuals of people trying to kill you involved, it's a little bit more scary.
When people are hunting down other people on the map and you hear gunshots in the distance, it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we went on a tangent. But it's time to talk about video game. Okay.
Do you guys spell video games one word or two?
Two.
Definitely two.
Okay. That's the correct answer.
That's right. I'm testing.
But if you type it in your phone, it will not autocorrect it to two. I think it accepts it as one.
Don't ever accept one word video game.
I'm about to psych you guys out because I actually have something to talk about from the previous topic. I finished the Defenders series on Netflix,
And
which is the culmination. Sorry, which is the culmination of all the Netflix Marvel series so far. That being Daredevil season 2, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones.
okay.
I've watched every single one of those. I feel like it went downward. Like, it started great, and then it went downward all the way to the Defenders, unfortunately. The Defenders, it's only 8 episodes long. All of them are, like, 13, at least, like, episodes long. And then why would they culminate it and do an 8-episode long thing? Especially because the first 2 episodes, they don't meet each other for the entire time. So there's literally 6 episodes of them, like, working together. And then it's over. Yeah, that was really weird.
Is there going to be a season 2 of the Defenders?
There could be, yes. I think the next one they're doing is Jessica Jones season 2.
Was the Defenders well regarded?
I don't think so. It was weird because I kind of waited a long time to watch it. And I didn't see like any reviews or like any buzz or anything about it.
You're the first person to watch it.
I'm the first person to complete the series.
Maybe the last.
Yeah, so I felt like it wrapped up too quick. There were really questionable things that happened during it that was like, what is happening? And the fact that it kind of a lot focuses on Iron Fist, which is the widely regarded as the worst season of the Marvel like Netflix series.
Maybe the creative minds behind it were looking at it and just thought, this isn't going great, you guys. Let's just finish what we can. You know, we don't need to drag this out for 5 more episodes. Let's just finish this and move
it's
on
definitely
to something
possible
we want
that
to do more.
Yeah, that's definitely possible that's what happened. But yeah, I really like Daredevil, like season 1 and 2. The Punisher is like really cool. I don't like Elektra. I'm gonna say that right now. Elektra plays a very big role in the Defenders, and I don't like her at all. So that's annoying. I didn't really like Sigourney. She's in this.
As
we have a
hero?
nickname for her. Do you dare say it? Do you
Flat
remember
Ass
it?
Weaver? Is that what it was?
Got him.
Yes. Yes. Okay, but she's
I know the nickname.
She's old.
She's old.
So
she a
she's
hero?
forgiven now for this. Okay, we're not going to talk.
No, we're not going to
about the
objectify
nickname.
women here.
Yeah.
Is she a superhero?
Guys, if you didn't watch
No.
our Alien review, we made a joke that they do like what I think is supposed to be a somewhat gratuitous shot of Alien. Maybe not so much because she's like a strong female heroine, but they show her ass in a shot and it's like a pancake.
It's like so nowadays they would like make the most like gratuitous shot and like it would look like a freaking porno or something.
Yeah, it would be like
that.
a Michael Bay Dutch angle with lightning like coming off like her. Yeah, but it's just not.
Yeah,
and it's just like a very plain like.
Yeah, an Alien is just like a
boring-
regular situation.
Yeah.
It's not even that we're like, oh, well, her ass should be bigger. Like it's just like we're so accustomed to seeing like pornography.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying that at all. It's just like a very like refreshing, but also very uncharacteristic Hollywood like portrayal of a female.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not making fun of Sigourney Weaver, okay?
I mean, we kind of are, but
Just
sort of
calling her names.
Yeah.
Sigourney, I love you.
Anyways.
Yeah, so her role in this was pretty dumb. I wish I could go into spoil. I mean, I guess I could go into spoilers.
Is she the Nick Fury of this?
Well, no.
Is she like
no.
Okay.
No, because she's bad. She's an evil character. Yeah.
I don't know if I like the idea of evil Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go into spoilers just because you guys aren't going to watch this,
I'm going to tell you right now that I will watch Daredevil. I won't watch any other piece of Marvel Netflix.
Okay.
I haven't watched a single Marvel Netflix series episode, so spoil away.
Okay. I
Don't
would
spoil
recommend
anything related to
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Yeah,
Daredevil
I would
is the
recommend
one
it.
that I actually want to watch, but go ahead.
It's cool, yeah. So in this series, spoilers, this is very big spoilers, Sigourney Weaver is like the main bad guy, and she's the leader of the Hand, which is the main evil group.
Is that referenced in any other series?
Yes, it's referenced in a lot of the other, mainly Daredevil, or mainly Iron Fist, but before that, Daredevil. It's like expanded upon in Iron Fist, and then like that all leads into the Defenders, and so it's kind of like Iron Fist like season 2, which is really unfortunate. So yeah, she's the leader of the Hand. She dies in like the second to last episode, just super quick before she does anything. You don't see her like go like fight anyone or like do like. It's possible that it would have been dumb to watch her like fight, because everybody in this entire like show can fight.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of the main thing about like the Marvel Netflix series is that like they're street level, you know, crime fighters, and they literally fight. Like that's one of the coolest things about the show. All those shows, because even like Jessica Jones, she's like super strong and she like fights people. But yeah, Sigourney does nothing. It seems like it's building up to a crescendo, and like she's gonna like, because she all the Hand people kind of are like mystical a little bit, so you're like, you don't really know what they're truly capable of. And then she like gets killed by Elektra, who is resurrected like by the Hand to do their bidding. So Elektra is like on the evil side, and then Elektra just like kills her, and she's like, oh, okay, I'm the main guy now. You're gonna do what I say, the Hand. And it's so
Classic.
dumb. Sigourney does nothing like in the show. It's so stupid.
It's a shame.
So she's like she's a scapegoat.
I guess, but it's like every episode before that was building up like, oh, she's the mastermind, like she's planning this whole thing,
Like a
like
red herring or
it's gonna be
something like
so
that?
lit when like this whole like we really see what she can do. And she's so reserved too. She's just like, I'm gonna plan out this whole thing, you guys are gonna follow my orders, like blah blah blah. Like she gets like a little mad, but she like doesn't go off, and you're like, oh, maybe she'll like go off super hard at some point in the show, and then she just dies like abruptly. It's like, what is even happening in the show, dude? So
That's
yeah,
upsetting.
that annoyed me.
That's upsetting because up until this point, it's almost like Marvel can do no wrong. And I feel like the most wrong they've done has been anything on Netflix. Like, not everything, but, like, I heard
Lately
okay things
on
about
Netflix.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
I heard that Luke Cage was actually
Some people
pretty good.
really love Jessica Jones.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, like, it has nothing to do with her being, like, the one female superhero and her having, like, not cool powers or anything. I just heard that it wasn't as good. But then, yeah, I heard Iron Fist was actually bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I heard it was actually just bad. And it's a little saddening.
I
Yeah.
actually heard really good things about Jessica Jones, but
Really. I heard the story was cool and had a good villain.
Yeah, it's definitely
I heard
all,
she wasn't the best character.
it's way more about the story. And my favorite thing about shows or movies too is when you like literally are like, oh shit, like any oh shit moment in a movie or TV show is my favorite part, because it's something that you like don't expect, or like it's usually something that you don't expect.
yeah.
you know.
Does Jessica Jones have that a lot?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say is that not a lot, but at the end of like a couple, like I think maybe even like 3 episodes in a row, there's like an oh shit moment where you're like, oh my gosh, this is like coming together in like a really satisfying way. So yeah, I really like that,
Interesting.
because they get put into situations where there's so many like pieces in place. All the characters have like different motivations, and like even their powers, like the bad guy can just say something, like tell you to do something, and then you like have to do it. Like your body just like wills itself to like perform the action. So he can be like, okay, you kill this person, and then like Jessica Jones like isn't influenced by him, but she's like super powerful, so she can like influence the environment and like twist, like she can take just, you know, a pipe and like twist it around someone's hand so that like if he tells them to kill someone, like she can like restrain them or something like that. So there are situations where like it's just a ticking time bomb, and like yeah, it's pretty
actually
cool.
interests me way more. I didn't know what that series was about, but that's reminds me of some of my favorite anime. Death Note and Code Geass are both, the main characters are they're mastermind characters, and they plan out their puppetry from just like, you can see them playing their chess game from miles away, and it's so cool to see like the pieces pan out and see how the villain or their, you know, rival or whatever is going to counteract that. And that's like, when you have that like chess game going on in the background of the story, like that's super interesting to watch it play out. So that actually interests me a lot in Jessica Jones. I might check that out.
Yeah.
The
Like,
best,
he could be like, all right, you sit here and wait till this time and then, like, kill this person.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that a lot.
Coulter, you should watch Death Note.
All right.
You won't watch it. But Death Note is the best example of that.
Dane, never tell me what I will and won't watch, okay?
You won't watch Game of Thrones. You won't watch Death Note.
I will watch. I actually, the other day, I looked up when does Game of Thrones come back? Isn't it like early 2019 or something like that?
Yeah, we don't really know.
Yeah, I think people like estimated that it would probably come out like early 2019. So we got some time, all right? Never say that I won't watch all of it.
Never say never.
In 2018. He's giving me a look for the audio listeners.
Okay.
All right.
That was fun.
I think it's time.
For video games.
For Slime.
Yay.
Slime Rancher.
Give us a Slime Rancher
played
update,
this game.
Dane,
Guys, look,
update.
Slime Rancher is a fantastic game.
I have to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I've been playing, really.
Huh.
Yeah.
How are the slimes doing?
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Just
How many gems are they pooping out?
Countless. Hundreds.
That game's
millions.
fucking awesome, dude.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
Okay, I'll start with you, Dane. What have you actually been playing?
Mainly, mainly Middle Earth, Shadow of War, and Evil Within 2. And then, like, some assorted stuff, like multiplayer stuff that we've already talked about ad nauseum. I bought Middle Earth. I was pretty excited about it. I like that game. It's a sequel to Shadow of War, or Shadow of... LOL, Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of War is a fucking awful name.
It is a bad name. I get confused. So, yeah, Shadow of Mordor was the original game that came out in, like, what, 2014? Something like that? Which was... I remember really enjoying. The story was shit. I can't tell you a single thing that happened in the storyline in that game. But the gameplay was really cool with the whole Nemesis system. And basically, if people don't know, Shadow of Mordor... is basically using like the combat engine of like the Batman Arkham games, or like Mad Max uses it, and
some of the earlier Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed games are pretty similar to it also. It's basically just like, it's very cinematic. It's not very difficult. There's some elements thrown in like as you go along that make the combat more involved or whatever. But the cool thing about Shadow of Mordor is that it has something called the Nemesis system, where basically all enemies are named, or like most like medium to stronger enemies are named, and they each have their own sets of weaknesses and strengths, and then they'll actually kind of interact with each other and you in different ways by, like, if you kill them by lighting them on fire or something like that, they might come back and be burned and be like, I remember when you burned me and I'm here to get revenge. Or like, you could send one of them, like you can influence one of their minds and send them to fight another guy and like create like power struggles and stuff in the army. So there was a lot of cool moments where you would like, you're basically trying to take down Sauron's army from within by like doing all these political power struggles and stuff, which was really cool. And they've kind of expanded upon all those systems in Shadow of War. Maybe too much. There's a lot going on in terms of like all, I think we were talking about this, Jordan, but like all the systems are very apparent in this game. Like it's very much a video game. It's not like the story is not that good.
Story is straight up bad.
I would say it's actually pretty bad. I've been skipping some cutscenes.
It's offensively bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like the game looks pretty sharp for the most part. It plays really well. I think this is probably one of the best playing like Arkham style games. Like the combat, like everything's really polished, but it's very much a video game. It's very much a Ubisoft like checkbox.
Yeah, that's what the game feels like to me, is that all those systems are cool by themselves, but they need to be put in a game where it doesn't... I don't want to constantly feel like I'm playing a video game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want to be in that world and experiencing a cool story and doing like these cool things,
Mm-hmm.
but like that game just has so many different things coming at you all at the same time of just like I don't know what they did to that game to just fill it to the brim with so many video game elements of just like, hey, make sure you press this button to do this thing. Hey, make sure you like dominate this dude. And here's like 4 button prompts. And here's pick up this item and do this. And it's so like thrown at you so quick and so fast. And you don't get your time to wrap your head around anything. And like Don't get me started on the story for that game. It takes a absolutely awful story in a video game to make me literally skip the cutscenes without having played the game first. I'm not kidding.
Oh my God.
The first scene, okay, and the premise for this game is so boneheaded that I can't. Whoever has the lore in hand in the studio that developed this, which is Monolith Studios, actually in our area of the woods here, they're
close, yeah.
The story in that game is that this ranger who's possessed by a dead elf spirit decides to take on Sauron.
One of the Ringmakers.
The Ringmaker himself decides to take on Sauron. At the end of the last game, I don't know what the fuck happened in the last game, but they didn't kill Sauron, obviously. And so in this one, they craft a new ring to take him down. They have a new ring of power. Of course, when they're fighting, immediately after they build the ring, they lose it. It gets taken from them because it has to.
No,
obviously.
They don't lose it. They give it away.
That's true.
He gives it away.
He loses his spirit, and Shelob, the spider from Lord of the Rings, who's a gothic woman in this now, says, either give me the ring or I'm going to kill this elf. And you do, and then that's how the story happens because it's just fucking ridiculous. And like...
So you give up your ring of power, the one thing that you can use to defeat Sauron. You give up to an evil spider lady so you can get your dead elf spirit back. And then the rest of the story is just you trying to get your ring back from the person that you just willingly gave it to.
And also, you're constantly working with her as well. Like, the first 6 missions in that game is you... Talion, the main character of this game, who's fucking generic as all hell. He has no personality. He has no distinct look on his face.
Yeah.
He's so generic in this game that it's upsetting, honestly. And so what happens is the story in the game starts and you lose the ring. And so you go to Gondor, some Minas whatever place
Minas
to go,
Ithil.
to do some shit. And he's like, we need to get the Seeing Stone. You go and try to get the Seeing Stone. Oh, guess what? You can't find it. And then Talion, who just lost the ring to Shelob, says, I need to go back to Shelob and ask her for a vision. And so you go back and ask her for a vision. She tells you something. You go and try to... She's like, oh, this guy is going to kill this person. And he's like, Talion says, okay, I'm going to go stop them. After you stop them, we need to go back to Shelob for another vision to figure out what to do. And for the first 5-6 missions, you're just going back and forth asking for visions from her. It's like, the ring is on her hand. Just kill her and take it already. You're literally right there. Like, it's just so dumb. And, like, the most annoying thing in that game for me, too, is, like, one of the early scenes of the elf, Celebrimbor is his name.
Celebrimbor.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's fine. But, like, they do the thing with every ring in that game where he's about to kill Sauron a long time ago, and as he reaches down to kill him, the ring slides off his finger and falls onto Sauron's finger, and it's just like, are you fucking serious? It's so dumb. Like, every character in Lord of the Rings loses the ring by it sliding off their finger or some shit. It's like, learn. Just... don't, like, make it fit, you know? Just put it on your thumb. It's not going to fall off your thumb if you put it on there, okay? Just put it on your thumb. It's just so dumb. The whole premise for that game is just silly.
It is dumb. So the story and, like, pretty much everything but the gameplay systems is just pretty bad. But for some reason, I still find myself wanting to play that game because the gameplay I think is pretty fun. And I still like... And I think I've said this about, like, one thing I like about Bethesda. This is kind of a weird comparison, but one thing I like about Bethesda is that I don't particularly even think that Skyrim has a great story. I don't think anyone gave Skyrim Game of the Year awards because of its storyline, or even for Fallout 3, 4, like New Vegas, any of that stuff, or like even Oblivion. But I like how they create a cool world with cool systems, and then you kind of like make your own sort of adventures and memories. And so I like Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor because, like, just today I was like fighting some war chief or something like that, and then a guy that I thought I had killed, like, at the beginning of the game, like in the first area, showed up randomly, and he was much higher level, and I had like chopped off his head or something like that, but it was sewn back on, and like his head, like his face was all fucked up, and he was like, yeah, you thought you got rid of me or whatever, and he comes in and starts fighting me. And he's super powerful and, like, just doing all kinds of crazy shit. He, like, had fought me before, so he learned a lot of my combat things that I would try to do to him. Like, I can't vault over him. Like, he can't be stunned, like, a bunch of stuff. Like, arrows don't do anything against him. So he was, like, the game was almost just like, oh, wow, like, you thought you killed this guy, but none of your tricks that you used on him before are going to work.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then while I was fighting him, some random-ass troll guy comes out of nowhere, like a huge troll, which is a named enemy, apparently. Just, like, literally, the camera just pans over to him. He sprints in, picks me up, and just, like, throws me into a wall. and like starts screaming at me, and he's like saying something about how he wants me to like bring him pain, and like he loves pain, and like all the dialogue they have for the orcs are really crazy.
Pain without love.
Pain.
I think they opted to not give Talion, the main character, any personality, and instead just shifted that into all the orcs, who are way more exciting characters than any character, any human character you deal with in that game is fucking awful.
The orcs are fantastic. Like, the dialogue they have when they enter battle is pretty great. But yeah, so I was fighting a war chief. I was fighting this guy that I had already killed earlier in the game that came back. And then this troll enters, and next thing you know, I'm in a battle against 3 really powerful enemies with, like, waves of people coming at me.
Yeah.
And that was probably the most fun I've had in the game so far. And it was, like, scripted, probably, maybe. But it was unscripted in the sense that it wasn't, like, a story mission or anything like that. Yeah. It was just a random thing that happened. And that kind of stuff is cool because when all the systems are actually working together and like the complexities of the Nemesis system are actually working, like the game is actually really cool. But it's kind of unforgivable how bad the rest of the game is around it.
Like, to
not
me,
bad. It's just
the combat, and I've said this to you guys before. I don't like the Arkham games. I don't like Arkham Knight. I don't like the combat system in that game because it's really just me. Like, I feel like when I'm playing those games, I'm sitting there mashing the X button on weak enemies that don't put up a fight, and then I press Y at the right time and counter, and that's how you play that game. And when you do fight against the big enemies, like, you're doing different things, but then there are certain times where certain enemies, like the ones with the shields, or there's enemies where you can't attack them from the front, and like, that's neat, but also it's a hassle to fight them sometimes, because when they do adapt to you, like, there's an enemy where you attack them from the front, they immediately block your attack and do damage to you. And so you have to either get behind them or, like, do some sort of, like, stun against them or something. If they're immune to stun, you can't stun them from the front, you can't stun them from the back. If you vault over them too many times, they adapt, you can't jump over them anymore. So then I'm just sitting there like, well, I have to just roll around this guy, hit him, like, one time in the back, and just do this forever. And it's frustrating when they do that, and, like, the combat is not exciting enough for me when I'm playing the game to, like, I wish I liked the actual fighting more, because then I would enjoy getting into those combat encounters with a bunch of people and fighting those guys. But it's just, like, I don't feel any sort of, like, awe when I get into those encounters. And also when those guys come out of nowhere, like, that's interesting to me, like, the first couple times it happens. But then, again, the system becomes very obvious to you, and you can see the strings being pulled when it's like, okay,
yeah,
here's this guy I'm fighting. Oh, look, this guy that I killed 4 times has just showed up again. Like, he's just never gonna die, I guess. And so, like, it's interesting. The first time you kill someone, he comes back. When he keeps coming back over and over again, it's like, what? Like, man, I killed you. Like, I cut your head off 4 times. I burned you.
When you die, that's it.
Like, you just keep coming back. Like, one of the executions is you just cut off, like, both their arms and then slice their head off, and this dude comes back from that. I was like, yo,
it's only a flesh wound.
You're dead, my dude. I killed you multiple times. Like, I don't know, that stuff is just silly, and I don't know. I wish I liked the game a lot more, because there's a lot to it, but there's something in it that is just not connecting with me, and the story is absolutely not enough to get me to play it.
No, the story is horrible.
Like, again, like I said, it takes an awful story for me to just straight skip it without having seen the story before. I'm just like, I don't care.
That's insane.
Like,
I don't know if I've ever done that.
I can't recall another game where I've done that.
Yeah, I was about to say,
it's so bad that I'm just
I've only skipped one cut. It was like one last cutscene that I did today, and it was like an in-game cutscene, so it wasn't really anything like probably even that important.
Also, they use pre-rendered cutscenes for a lot of the games, so, like, as opposed to Uncharted, where it's basically all in-game visuals and it looks very cohesive. It bothers me a lot when this game, you can customize your armor, you get different armor and stuff, and then it goes to these cutscenes that are, and granted, you can download 4K cutscenes or pre-rendered videos. It's 25 gigs on PC to download that by itself, along with the rest of the game, which is like 65 gigs. There's also a 10 gig ultra texture pack, so the game itself is running at like 110 gigabytes on your computer or on your PS4 or whatever you're running at, which is too much. Like, that's a huge game. That's insane that it's that big. And so I don't have the 4K cutscenes, and they don't look great. Like, they don't look as good as the actual game when it's running. And he's always wearing his same armor, his same old stuff. I'm just like, that's not me. That's not my character in that cutscene, you know? It takes me immediately out of it when I see it. And also just the voice acting and like, there was one scene that's supposed to be very touching where a character's, I think, father was supposed to die or something. And she starts crying and screaming. it was so forced and so hammy that I just started laughing. I was like, this can't, like, come on, man, this is bad. It's so bad. I just laughed and I was like, I'm not watching anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Every single Shelob is off. Oh man, the story in that game is just so bad.
Yeah.
It pisses me off, but yeah.
So
a lot of people will like that game for its combat and other systems, but like since I didn't like Arkham Knight, like I'm getting flashbacks of that, and something about it is not clicking with me. Though I wish it did, because I did like the first one more, but this one.
I have a friend or a coworker that really enjoys the game. He like talks about it, or he comes like when we talk about video games at work, he always like talks about how he's having fun with it. So
yeah.
But it's cool. Yeah, I mean, I like it, but
also
those are all valid points.
Like, I don't have the motivation to do anything in that game anymore because the story doesn't push me forward. I don't want to see what happens at the end of it because I don't care. And just the cycle of the game of getting orcs to your side, fighting and taking over these bases. It takes a while to get to the first one to do that, and it's cool in concept, but the first one just. I don't know if it's because I took over so many orcs and my army was just so dominant that there's zero challenge involved. Like, they just ran through it and you just take it immediately. I don't know if it's because I'm
so fucking good at the game.
It's not. The game is easy. Like, it's easy to fight people in that game unless they're ridiculously overpowered and, like, high leveled. It happens sometimes to force you to change the way you fight, I guess. But just, there are so many systems at work that are so obvious, like, when you look at them, that it takes me out of it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that game, and then Evil Within 2 is a fantastic game.
Yeah,
I've been playing.
I've been playing it as well.
You beat it, right?
I have beaten it, yes.
Yeah. So I really like that game. You didn't play the first one?
No, I passed on the first one.
I played literally like the first 10 minutes or something like that.
I remember we talked about that.
I feel like I've heard several people be like, "Oh, I never beat the first one."
The first one came to mixed reviews, so a lot of people probably didn't play it, and some people didn't like it.
I played, I don't know how long the first one is. I feel like I was probably pretty close to beating it because I remember it reaching like sort of a climax. But yeah, so I played the majority of it. I have, one of my friends actually we just watched the final cutscene on YouTube because I knew I wasn't
for the new one.
I wasn't, yeah. Or, wait, what do you mean?
For the old one.
Evil Within 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I ended up this was back in like the summer or something. Like he was like, "Wait, you never beat the first one?" And I was like, I don't think I did. And then I looked up like a little guide, and I was like, "Oh, I feel like I was pretty close." And then I just watched the last cutscene, so I know how the first one ends. So I felt comfortable going into this one. And this is kind of like what I want out of a horror game. Like, I like how the whole, basically the idea is that in this one, and it was kind of like this in the first one, but it wasn't really explained. In this one, you're basically in a simulation the entire time. So like you get placed in like this little, it's called STEM. It's like this little like sort of like the Animus in Assassin's Creed.
It's a bathtub.
It's a bathtub.
You get thrown in a bathtub.
Yeah,
basically.
It's a bathtub. But it's sort of like the Animus where it's like, okay, you got to go in this, like you got to jack in, you got to go into this world or whatever. And so like they throw you in there really fast, but then the rest of the game, at least that I've played so far, is and I think the whole game will probably be in this simulation. So they do some really cool things where like the environments will change. Like you'll go through a doorway and you'll turn around, and then the room that you were just in is gone, and there'll be a different hallway and like weird stuff. So that you're never really comfortable. Yeah. It's the best way I can actually explain it is it's like PT, but like a whole game based out of that. So like it's like that whole little house where it changes and you go through and you're like, wait, that chandelier wasn't there, or like that there's like a fucking body up there that's sketchy as fuck. Like they do that, but it's just with large environments and like houses and weird like city stuff. Yeah. So when I'm playing that game, like in the intro where they have like those like curtains that are in that weird area, there's all kinds of like cool imagery that it just keeps coming at you like scene after scene. Like you walk into it could be a normal house, and you walk in, you're like, oh okay, I'm in an insane asylum, and then you turn the other corner and you're like, wait, I'm back in the living room. What's happening? And you start to kind of like question if you're kind of like losing it because the game is like so harebrained and weird. And yeah, there's something cool about that because it's not like Resident Evil is cool, but with Resident Evil, you know what you're getting yourself into, and it kind of like loses its scare factor after a while because you just know like you're going to be in this house and there's going to be a scary person and they're going to like be doing whatever. But then with Evil Within, like, you at any moment could be in a different area, or like something in the environment will like kind of like look like a glitch or like a hack or something. You'll be like, wait, why is there like a weird thing there? And you'll get closer and then it'll be like a body instead of like a piece of furniture or something. Like that's pretty cool.
That like theme of just like psychologically messing with you and kind of like shifting your perspective and like turning the elements on you that you don't expect things to happen, and then they just do, and it gets you. And like that continues throughout the entire game. Like the start of the game, like it starts off really well, and you're kind of in this cool area and you get to explore, and the world that you're in is not like Resident Evil, you know, where you're in this linear area. You get to actually explore these big environments.
With like side missions.
Yeah, there's side missions in there. You can run around, like do stealth kills, and like it plays really well. It looks like fantastic, and like it's just fun exploring different like rooms and buildings and getting loot, and not loot, but like crafting items to craft ammo and, you know, upgrade your weapons and stuff. And there's a whole bunch of
definitely
things.
Last of Us-esque.
Yeah, like the system of getting just like scavenging for stuff is kind of like the Last of Us that I get from it. And also just like sneaking around and stealth killing guys. But like the environments are constantly shifting, and like as soon as I kind of like got a little like the environment, the first one I was in was getting a little stale, it shifts it completely, and it's like, oh wow, like there's another new spin on this, and like it just keeps doing that throughout the game. It keeps it like so fresh playing. It was like really cool like imagery in it. There's a weird fascination in this game and also in the game Persona 4 with not so much of fascination, but a weird camera. Like there's a thing with cameras in a couple of Japanese games that I wonder if it
like
is
Fatal
like,
Frame.
Yeah, and like there's a very specific, I don't know if this is a real camera, but multiple times I've seen there's a final boss in Persona 4 that is a giant like camera lens, and on it says Veritas, which I think might be a brand or like some sort of lens or something. And like there's the same thing in this game, and I was like, wait, like are these cameras, like is this like a common thing? Like they're so similar in like visual design that I wonder if it's taken from some like larger
you're thinking
thing.
like, is this a trope or is this an actual reference to like a real
like is there some sort of larger thing like and it's in Japanese games, like they're very specifically Japanese stuff. I was like, well, this is kind of a cool like
there is I think it is a trope in horror movies, because there's Fatal Frame, there's what was that movie? Was it The Ring, where or The Grudge or something, where this is gonna be a terrible explanation, but there's a scene where they're in an apartment, like a really stark white apartment, and there's like he discovers photos of like the demon or something. It's either The Ring or The Grudge, where
could
he
be
like
either one.
finds these photos and he's like, this is really sketchy, like this is weird.
It might be The Grudge.
I think it is, but I think there's something. Isn't there a belief in like a Japanese belief that when you take a picture of someone, that like part of their soul gets taken from them into the
I don't know if that's solely Japanese. That's a U.S. thing as well. Like Goosebumps, I think there's one where
say cheese and die.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a like I don't think it necessarily originated in Japan, but I think that's something that they've taken and run with a little bit.
But there's just a cool like that.
The villain is cool with that.
Remember the movie Oculus?
Yeah,
yeah.
A lot of camera like.
Was that was the mirror, though, wasn't it?
I don't know. I didn't even see that.
I saw that. That was with the mirror.
Though also this game's story is a little ham-fisted at parts and very cheesy. Like it takes a B-movie vibe to it, but it takes itself very seriously. And also, like I love this game. I played it like in huge chunks of sessions, and like as opposed to playing like Shadow of War, I was like I'm trying to get into this immediately off the bat. Evil Within got me, but the story in that game is enough to keep you going. But there's some really like awful voice acting in there. I don't know what happened in like the US localization or something, but like it gets really bad at some points where I was just like, whoa, this is like, for a game that has so many other technical aspects that are like above and beyond, like I don't know what happened to the voice acting, but it has some like very suspect parts to it where I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is crazy. But like,
does anyone say amazeballs?
No, but like it's nothing that bad, but like they just have very cheesy like the script is like very cheesy at points, and like
just like no one real would actually say stuff like that.
100% yes, where it's just like this, like why are you talking like this? Yeah, it's very stilted. But the story itself is like not really the story, but the premise of it and the setup for the world is enough to keep you going through it like more than enough.
So. Yeah, the gameplay is really solid. It does have video gamey elements to it, but they're all presented in a really cool way. Like, the whole like tone of the game is really neat. Mm-hmm. Like, there's something cool about it, and it's also very Japanese, but I think in an accessible way for people, because I don't think this was done by the Resident Evil guy.
It is. Shinji Mikami is the executive producer on this game. He made Resident Evil 4. I don't know if you played that.
Is he still doing this one?
Yeah.
Because I saw the game director was someone else, but he's doing like overall...
He's the executive producer.
Okay. So, yeah, so that makes complete sense, because even in the first one, like, the first one was a little linear, like, it had some rough spots here and there. There's a lot of parts that were like sort of trial and error, which is one of the main things I hate about horror games.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like Outlast and things like that, like we've already talked about. But
can you expand upon what you actually mean exactly by that? Like, what about that don't you like?
So with Outlast specifically, I feel like because it's partly because you can't fight back, but more so because the game, like with Outlast 1 at least, and more so with Outlast 2, they kind of give you the idea that it's like, well, you gotta fend for yourself and you gotta run away and you can't fight, but there's really only specific ways that you can run away and not fight, and you have to go down, like, there might be like 2 ways you can do it and you can choose, but the game doesn't clearly illustrate that to you. So you're kind of like, you end up being like, am I going the right way? Like, I think I'm going the right way. There's doors that are opening, and I guess this is fine. And then you maybe mess up and you realize that's not the right way to go. You get killed, and then when you start over again, immediately, right away, the whole idea of you not being able to fight back and like creating that tension just goes away, because you're like, okay, well, I know where I need to go, but I need to like do this awkward dance around the guy and like run around, and
that's 100% the same reason why I don't like playing those games. Like, I played Amnesia, but the first time I played it, I liked it because it was incredibly scary, and that was an original concept at the time. But like, it's just very frustrating for me when I go into these set pieces and it's like, okay, you need to escape, and I'll run this way and it's a dead end and it kills you. It's like, okay, well, like,
well, what the fuck was I supposed
I'll restart,
to do?
and now I know this thing is here, and immediately the horror is lost because I know this thing is going to attack me. I know it's going to turn this corner. I know it's here, and it's just like, I don't want to have to repeat that process. I want to just have it chase me and scare me, but I don't want to have to repeat the process 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, you want to somehow move forward from that. You don't want to like die immediately and have to reset like a linear pattern.
Because again, and this goes with the same with horror movies, once you see the thing, it becomes less scary. And so like, if I know something is hunting me and I gotta run, like, that's frightening. If it catches me and kills me, I get to see its ugly face. I'm like, okay, well, it's just a monster, so I'll just get killed by it again, I guess. Whoops.
You want the process of it chasing you to last like as long as possible.
Yeah. Which is why I kind of like, Resident Evil 7 and this game doesn't have things where you chase. It gives you the tools to be like the killer in this game, be the predator, which takes a little bit of the scare factor away from me, because that's the same kind of problem I have in horror games, and Resident Evil 7 especially, is when you get the tools to fight back, a little bit of the tension is lost, because I know if this zombie attacks me, like, I'm not going to have to do a trial and error run. I can fight back and kill it, or I can just run away, which is a cool thing in this game, where the segments where enemies are so open-ended and, like, varied that you can either go in and kill them all, you can, like, shoot a smoke grenade and run through and just run past them, you can throw bottles and, like, distract them and sneak through, and there's a lot of ways to do it. And if you do mess up, it's not an instant fail state. You can do it again and fight back and fight your way out of the situation and still feel tense because you might die, but you have a chance to fight back, Yeah,
and the combat in this game is very deliberate.
Yeah.
Like, it feels very weighty, and like when you actually get into an encounter, you do feel like a badass, but you're also at least so far that I've seen, you're somewhat outnumbered, where there's just enough going on where you're like, I have a lot of shotgun ammo and I have all this stuff,
but you don't want to waste it.
I don't want to waste it on these guys, and I don't have to. So yeah, there's some cool elements there, but
yeah, and the like character design, monster designs in those games, like there's some absolutely just like disgusting looking like things in that game. Like, this game is, for me, it wasn't super scary at a certain point. It kind of shifts tones a little bit later, as most horror things do, but it keeps the tension for a good amount of time, and like it keeps tension throughout the whole game. And just the like visual, just disturbing images and psychological stuff that happens is just really creative. Especially like the stuff with camera, like, is like a fascinating thing to me. So I really like that a lot.
Yeah, no, so far I really like it. Coulter, I think you'd actually really enjoy this game.
Did you ever play Resident Evil 4?
Resident Evil 4, no.
Okay.
I understand that is one of the classic horror games of all time.
Widely considered one of the, if not the best Resident Evil game for sure. Did kind of set the change in Resident Evil going from kind of like actual survival horror to the action stuff, but that was a good mix. Game probably still holds up.
Yeah. I really liked Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
It's probably, not the same thing. But.
It's a little bit different, but, well, a lot different in terms of how the horror, like, gets you. Like, Resident Evil 7, I think, is on general scarier just because of the way things chase you, and you kind of, like, the first person's perspective helps a lot, too, because you can't see. But also, in Evil Within, things sneak up on you and, like, jump off the side of the screen, it gets you.
The thing about Evil Within that I enjoy is just, I like not knowing what to expect because the game is so unpredictable that when you're playing, literally anything probably could happen at any moment, which is really cool because, a seemingly normal environment could shift into something like super macabre and twisted within like a second. And it's done in like a really cool, artful way. Like I said, like you will literally like turn around at some parts and you're already in a building or a room, and then there'll be a completely other hallway or completely other like environment that you're in where you're like, wait, where am I? And then you turn around again and you're just in there. And you're like, wait, I was just in a house. There's a door over there. Like, why is that door not there anymore? And then something else will be completely different or changed.
Or things like where you'll open a door and walk in, and then immediately you're in a completely different setting. And
and then you'll turn around and the door's not there anymore or something.
Like, that's really cool and effective.
It's cool because it's not like it's sort of like what Naughty Dog does, where they do a great job of throwing you into the game and you're experiencing things in the game as they're happening. Like the set piece moments are cool because you're controlling Nathan Drake when he's like on the back of a truck and crazy stuff's happening. It's not a cutscene, and it's cool because in Evil Within, when that kind of stuff happens, it's not like you lose control for a moment and you walk into a room and like you kind of like are watching yourself in game do something or like a cutscene. It's just you're actually playing and things are changing around you, and like the way, I don't even know exactly how it works, but all of the like transitions and stuff is very cleverly hidden behind like video game magic. So you're never like, oh, I went into here and I saw like the little thing transform into like cutscene graphics, and then I come back into the game. It's like just it's all happening, and that's what makes you like kind of weirded out because you're like, wait, why the fuck am I in this like weird hospital now? Like, what's going on? Quite cool. It's really cool. So that's, even though like the actual gameplay is probably not as scary as Resident Evil, or 7 at least, the game itself it's like distressing because you never know what's going to happen. So it's fun.
Yep.
I would highly recommend it. I'm probably enjoying it.
I probably will get it. Can't guarantee you, but
I also don't think that playing the first game is a requirement for this one.
No,
I absolutely am not going
on some of the characters, but
yeah.
From what I have gathered from the first game, the story in that one is about as nonsensical as this one gets. So it's probably not.
The first game is wild.
But again, you're playing through it to experience like the weird visual shit that's happening to you, and it's really, really cool. And it continues to get cooler. Like, you see so many different environments in that game that it's really quite something.
Okay.
But yeah, that's about it for me.
Okay.
Those are the two major ones, I feel like, for maybe you too. But
yeah.
Well, I actually did play the scariest game of 2017.
Stop.
If not one of the scariest games I played in a very long time. It's called Doki Doki Literature Club.
So I download this game and I'm halfway through it, or I don't know about halfway, but I'm certain.
Have you experienced?
No, I haven't experienced anything weird. Okay. So I don't even want to know a thing about what's going to happen because I've heard enough to know that I shouldn't know anything.
This game, I had a understanding going in that it's going to fuck with me at some point. Yeah. It's gonna scare me. I played this game like at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I heard about this. I'm just going to play it. It can't be like, it's just a thing. I was literally rattled in my chair. I was like, I need to stop playing this. I had to step away. There is one moment where I was like, I need to step away from my screen. Like, this is killing me because it was like the game. It starts out, it's very cheery and fun, and it's got good little music.
Dude, and it's
fun writing. And then at one point I was like, fuck me. Like, I stopped. I was like,
that's insane.
It's good. It's really fun. Maybe I hyped up a little bit, maybe not, but Like there are some deeply unsettling things in that game, and
Jesus.
I highly recommend it.
Holy shit!
It's a free 2-hour experience. It plays out like a visual novel game where you're kind of just making choices and kind of doing some weird fun. Like
I feel like I
stuff.
played it for at least an hour, and I haven't seen anything crazy. So.
It'll get there, but it's really. It's something cool.
I'm just thinking the whole time through, like, what could possibly be so crazy as to make people, like, have these reactions. Like, I'm just thinking the whole time, like,
even
what
for
the
me
frick?
at the start, like, there's things where, like, have you done, like, the poem creation, where it's just, like, you kind of are seeing some weird stuff, and there's, like, this is kind of, like, a cheery game. Why are there some, like, weird words in here and stuff? And just, like, this seems like there's, at the start of the game, you can kind of see a weird undertone to it that's, like, something here doesn't quite seem like as I've expected. It's one of the few games that like literally like completely surprised me in like what happened, and like very few games do that where they just like actually like maybe go like, wow, this is a unique video game experience, and like I recommend
for
the last game. Sorry,
or I was gonna say a game that kind of did that for me was the Stanley Parable. I don't know if you guys care about that, game. But that. For me, at least, was like, okay, I've never played a game exactly like this. Yeah. So
it's neat.
I was gonna say the last game that you gave me a similar pitch for was Moirai.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm sure is weird in a different way. But when you told me about that and I started playing it, like, I felt uncomfortable because I was like, wait, something bad is gonna happen. Like, what's gonna happen? I was just like getting anxious, and I was like, as I was walking through like the hallways and like the little cave and everything, I'm like, no, like. I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't want to play this. And then I realized what the whole thing was, and it was actually really clever and cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, something about I just honestly get anxious thinking about this game. I don't know if I want to
play.
Like,
it.
I'm
getting a little late.
I'm gonna play it, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. What, the game that
like the
Doki Doki?
Yeah, like the Doki Doki thing. It like
that
sense of dread, like as you're playing, where you're like, fuck, like something's gonna happen. Like, I don't know. Even I'm sure what's gonna happen isn't gonna be as scary as my anticipation of it.
Yeah.
Which I kind of wish I didn't know anything about it. Which I don't know anything about it. I just know that something crazy happens.
It will catch you off guard, and it does that constantly. And like it's very cool.
I feel like what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say.
It's fine.
I feel like it's gonna be. There's no way it's gonna be as like in your brain anything could happen, and then something very specific is gonna happen, and that like there's no way it could be.
I hope it unsettles you as much as I was unsettled, because
I mean, you gave a great pitch.
That's a very it's very rare for a movie, a game, a book, anything to like make me sit there and go like, holy shit, like that I was completely unexpected, and like. To like generate that sort of feeling for me, I was like, wow, that's impressive. And it's a 2-hour game, 2-hour-ish, depending on how long you want to deal with it. Completely free, super cool.
I remember what I was gonna say is that if I hadn't known that anything was gonna happen, if I was just playing the game just for fun, I thought it was just a normal like cutesy game. I don't know, because like it would be crazy when something crazy did happen, but I feel like hyping it up is also very exciting, because the whole time for that, however long, you're like, what the fuck is gonna happen?
Like, how is this gonna go off the rails? Yeah.
And that's fun in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even because
that's the whole concept of a scary movie, though.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, they're going out.
I know this is a scary
movie.
They're
going camping in the woods. Like, something's gonna happen.
And like because I had read about this game in an article off of Kotaku, which is a video game website, and it said like the headline was Doki Doki Literature Club scared me shitless. I was like, what the like Doki Doki Literature Club? What kind of silly ass Japanese visual novel is this? And then I read the article, and they did very well in avoiding spoilers, but I knew much more about that game than I think you do going in. Mm-hmm. Like even like some screenshots in there and stuff.
I know nothing.
Yeah, don't look at anything about it. Play it at night. Play it with your lights off. Play it with headphones on, and just enjoy the ride.
I'm absolutely not. After this, I'm absolutely not playing it like late at night.
You have to play it at night.
I might play it tonight.
Play it tonight, dude. Seriously, play it tonight. It's 2 hours long. It'll be fun. I guarantee it. I guarantee you will feel something in that game.
I hate like when something truly scares me, and then I'm just home alone late at night, and it's like,
yeah. I think I'm not gonna say anything more, but I do think it will unsettle you. It might not. There are like jumps in there, I'm sure, that will get you, but like it is a deeply unsettling game, and it will it like made me uncomfortable playing it. So I think a lot of people should play this game.
we've said enough.
Yeah.
Play this game. It's really fun.
Oh my god. Okay.
Highly recommend. Scariest game I've played in a long time.
I'm gonna play it. Probably tonight.
Cool. All right.
Or tomorrow, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, Jordan?
I can't think of... actually, I've been playing, just briefly, more Gundam Versus. I've been starting doing ranked play in that, which is fun. I started to get the controls and the tactics down a bit. And that game is just a fun, competitive thing, so it's good stuff. Also,
Cool.
There's just a ton of Gundams to choose from.
Okay,
Perfect
really...
for you. Not mechs.
I mean, there's a lot of mechs to choose from. Some of them are Gundam, some of them are not.
How many of them are mobile suits?
They're all mobile suits. Not
all of them are Gundams.
Yes.
We got it now.
We got a chicken and... we got a square and rectangle scenario here.
Yes, exactly.
All right, is that... Are we clear to move to my section?
Yes.
What?
Okay, the big thing, we got to discuss this. We don't have a lot of time. Okay. But Rocket League, you all know, is the game that I play the most, probably out of any game. It's one of my favorite games ever. If you are just hearing about Rocket League for the first time, it's basically car soccer, like RC car soccer, but you have like rocket boosts on your car so you can fly through the air. It's like indoor soccer with rocket cars. Anyways, it's incredibly competitive, and I try to play competitively or whatever. So they just released an event, a Halloween event, which is similar to something like Overwatch, where during the Halloween season, they'll have special items that you can get, like cosmetic items and stuff like that. And yeah, so this particular event, you can get a Halloween crate, which has like special items in it. It's not weird for there to be crates. They've had crates for a while. And then you can get currency that they call candy corn. I think I saw someone say candy coin. Is it candy coin or candy corn?
Well, the emblem is a candy
it's like
corn
a candy
on a coin, though.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I could be
coin
dumb.
To me, is those chocolate, like coin things. You know?
Oh yeah, like when you take the wrapper off and it's just like a chocolate coin. Anyways, yeah. So you can every game you get like somewhere between 4 and 6 candy corns that you can spend on standalone items, a crate, or for the first time they introduced something called decryptors, which are basically free keys to open crates. And I don't think they said this before it came out, but there's a limit of 3, and that's a really big deal to me because I thought I would get like a bunch of, like at least 10, maybe even like 20, 25
depending on
decryptors, which I could use for a while. So Overwatch, you can get any item if you like play long enough and like, you know, work hard to get it or whatever.
Yeah, get the box, you might get in the box, you might have enough currency to buy it.
Yeah. And in this game, I have to say that they're a little bit greedy. We've been saying this for a long time that there are like you have to pay to get the crates. Up until now, you had to pay to get the crates, and now they're giving away decryptors, which is like, okay, they've kind of solved the problem. Like, if you work hard enough, you can get any item you want. But it turns out there's a limit of 3, which is like super disappointing.
Yeah, that when you said this to me, I was like, man, that's not cool, because that's a serious problem to me, at least, when video games have crates and stuff and they give them to you and they don't give you a free way to open it. Like, that's just a slap in the face. Like, that's something that used to happen a lot in free-to-play games. Which
I was about to say, I'd be angry about this if it was a free-to-play game, but I paid $20 for Rocket League.
Like, I paid real money for this game already. I don't want to have to spend more money to open something that you're giving me for playing the game. Like, what? Like, that's just a dirty, like, marketing trick. That's not cool.
It's fucked up, and then they're like, a portion, and then they throw that thing in there, which is just another, like, it's almost offensive. They're like, well, a portion of this will go to help, like, the Rocket League World Championship or whatever it is. It's like, well, I'm not gonna be in the, like, I'm not gonna be in the esport prize pool. Like, I don't give a fuck.
But if you like to watch it, you could support it.
Yeah, but then maybe give.
Let me buy a chest then.
Let me buy an esports like prize chest or something yeah. I don't know. Something just makes me angry about that because they're dangling it in front of you like a little carrot. They're like, well, you got this cool Halloween box or like the cool Nitro box or whatever, and it's like, buying on a pay $1.
You literally must pay $1.
Yeah, and then like you said, where they announced the decryptors or whatever. When you told me about that, we were at lunch. I think I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. Like. I love those chests like in any game like that sounds awesome. But then it's even worse when it's a seasonal thing that you can only get for like a month or like 2 weeks or whatever it is. And then
they're gonna have more events, but
no,
It's 3 per
That's
event.
upsetting. Rocket League is consistently one of the best-selling games on every platform that's on. It's not even out on the Switch yet. Like, people are spending a lot of money on that game. They don't need to do that. Yeah. It's upsetting.
Yeah, it's definitely a greedy move, but honestly, now that they're this far, there's like not much reason to change unless people like literally vote with their dollar or something like that. There's a dabbing Reaper goal explosion. Let me just sneak that in here. Like, there's different customizable goal explosions in Rocket League. When you score a goal, an explosion will happen. And there's one where, for the Halloween event, a portal will open up in the goal, and a Reaper, like a ghostly Reaper with no face, will come out and, like,
dab on him.
He'll show up, he'll fly forward, and then he just hits the dab hard as fuck.
It's really silly and awesome.
He just goes like, oh, and then like he like drifts off to the side, like away after he does the dab.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so that's pretty insane. And there was like controversy because some people like hate dabbing because they just hate anything that gets popular that's childish.
When a stick is far enough up your ass, you'll hate anything.
Dabbing is played out. Yeah, they're a little late to the party, but it's still funny, like, in an ironic way, too. Like, I like it just genuinely, because I just think that's funny to have a guy dab on you after a goal. That's hilarious. I think it's
hilarious because it's a Reaper.
Yeah, it's just so, like silly.
So stupid.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Because it's, like, death incarnate, and then he does the dab. It's like a stormtrooper, like, dancing or something like that.
Yeah, it's something
like
that just,
dabbing.
like, completely
dabbing.
Like, contrasts itself or, like, contradicts itself.
It's just fun. It's not supposed to be serious.
Yeah. I think it's people get upset because they don't like to be dabbed on. So
yeah,
look, if you get scored on and then you get dabbed on, it's just adding insult to injury.
Sit down.
Sorry, son. They already have like a salty player card where it like has a salt shaker. Yeah.
I did forget to mention that I bought a Snes Classic. Walked into Fred Meyer, just bought it.
They had it.
It was there.
Wow,
I actually
crazy.
Got the hookup from a person who works there that I've known for a long time because I go there and he's worked there for a very long time. He messaged me on Facebook and was just like, we got 6 SNES Classics in stock, first come first serve. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll head over there in the morning. Went over there.
Was that the guy?
It was the dude.
The dude, the one that
we'll
one that we both
we'll call him Kevin. His name's Kevin. But yeah, and so I got it and played a little bit of it. It's cool.
It's hilarious.
It's a neat little thing.
It's cool. What games did you play?
Super Mario World.
Good game.
Yeah, good game. Played Mega Man X, which is a cool. It looks pretty cool. I didn't play all of them. Super Mario. Yeah, Mega Man. Doki Doki Literature Club. Donkey Kong. You know, just I touched a little bit of each of those games just to kind of get my feet wet, but it's cool. It's nice to see those old games and seeing them, you know.
I'm gonna go back. I think pretty soon here when I get some time, I'm gonna play some Final Fantasy on there.
Yeah, if I hadn't,
I want to play it on the SNES.
Yeah, if I hadn't played that game to basically completion on my phone, I would probably play it on the SNES.
That's so weird to hear you say.
Listen, I won't recommend playing that game on the phone to anyone because it's not the best way to play it.
Yeah.
But if that's the only way you got, it's a good game. So recommend.
Okay.
All right.
Are we?
This is running a little long. We still have to pull a movie.
Oh, shigadoo. Last thing about me is that I beat...
No one gives a fuck about you, Colton.
Oh, my God.
That's so rude.
I beat the dragon in Cuphead, which was giving me a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Did you play any
It was quite the run. No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I shall. All right, guys. We're going to pick a movie out of our little bag here. You already know we have a Wacky Film List with like 50 or so movies on there. Yeah, every week we pick one out, and then next week we review it. We watch it, and then we review it. If you guys want to watch it, that would be cool, so you can experience this along with us. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, we have it on our website.
It's true.
itsnotsosubtle.com, and we have it on our Twitter account as a pinned tweet at itsnotsosubtle.
Do we know whose turn it is?
We have no clue.
I'll tell you.
I feel like we should just do whoever.
I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Season 2, we're starting new.
We're starting anew.
Season 2, we're starting anew. Reaching inside the bag to pull a movie.
Reaching inside to pull Calabar too.
Honestly, guys, I feel a little nervous about the Doki Doki Literature Club thing, because I don't want you guys to not experience it the way like how I did. I want you guys to feel how I felt, and if I oversold it too much, I'm gonna feel really bad if you don't get the scares.
I'm sure whatever happens, it'll be surprising.
I'm sure that I won't be prepared.
Okay. I mean,
mentally
all you
or
were saying
physically.
is how you felt about it, so whatever.
Okay.
Like, if we take that in a way that hypes it up too much, that's our fault.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
you were
on
just saying-
us.
All right,
you
I
were
don't
just
care
saying
then.
how you felt.
I don't care anymore, so that's fine.
You shouldn't care about how we feel anyway.
As long as it's not on me, I don't give a shit.
Are you
so.
weak?
No.
No,
I
of
was
course-
weak playing that game, but
Okay. Guys, I have my hand in the bag
Hurry
and
up.
I'm rolling around.
That's the official theme song for
Okay, I got a movie.
I
The
believe
Wacky
there's
Film.
one wild card in there that's mine left. So, come on.
Oh my god, I saw what it was.
Dude,
No.
there's no way.
You didn't
There's
just
no
pick that.
way that this just happened. Guys,
Show it to him.
Dane, shut the fuck up.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
It's Calabar 2.
No.
Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge.
This
Oh
isn't
my
a
god.
joke.
This is
isn't a
not a
joke.
joke, guys. Roughly a week before Halloween, we pulled Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. This is real life. I was honest, I'm not kidding. Before we started this podcast, I was actually going to make a joke saying that if we didn't pull this movie, I was not going to record another episode. Because we were getting so close to Halloween and this is the perfect time. But I didn't want to say anything.
This is honestly
And
pretty
this-
spooky.
This is spoopy as fuck.
Spooked, dude.
Honestly, I was pretty scared during Doki Doki. This scared the shit out of me.
Dude, this
I-
is
I don't know what to
This
do.
is honestly wild. Guys, if you've been watching / listening to the podcast since the beginning, you'll know that we not jokingly and completely
100%
truthfully,
seriousness.
100% seriously love Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge, let alone the entire Halloween Town 2 film saga. And now we've actually pulled...
Next episode is the last episode before Halloween. It's
I want to
literally
make
the
it
last
clear.
one.
There's no way we planned this out. This was completely up to fate.
There were like 50 movies in
Yeah,
here. There's like a
literally,
1 in 50 chance.
There's so many things in here, and they're all jumbled together. I literally was just There's no way that I could have done this.
I mean, unless the bag is filled with all
Only-
50 Halloween Town Calabar's
It's not.
Revenge.
Let me
It's
pull
not
another
that.
one
This
right
is
now.
just wild.
Brazil. That would have been shit.
I'm
2001: A Space Odyssey. Fuck that.
I'm a little shook.
Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge.
Let's
Best choice.
fucking
Let's
go.
go,
That's amazing.
dude.
Good job, Dane. That's amazing.
Guys, I can't wait to watch this film.
I am honestly really. This might be the most excited I've been for
Yeah,
a movie that we've.
That's
pulled.
crazy.
We are gonna need to make a spectacular.
We're
gonna need to have an
Halloween.
event.
This is gonna be into a special episode.
Calabar Spectacular.
This
We're
is
gonna
insane.
have the lights down low. You know, we're gonna have our jack-o'-lanterns carved up. You know, we're gonna have the pumpkin seeds,
Shrunken heads.
salted and baked in the oven, and we're gonna eat some pumpkin spice lattes.
Dude, when I saw that, I just looked at you. I was like,
I saw like out of the corner of my eye, I was like, that said Calabar.
oh my god.
Man, that's really amazing.
I'm
I'm just amazed that this
I'm
happened.
stoked. That's incredible.
Wow,
okay,
yeah,
well,
that's-
this has been the best episode yet of Not So Subtle.
Sometimes things just go your
Only
way.
because of
That's-
this.
that's
This is great. You know, life was looking pretty bleak for a while there, but you know what? Once I pulled this,
Once I pulled this, everything was okay.
everything is right. I feel totally fine now. This is great.
All right.
This is amazing.
Well,
All right, guys. Well, if you want to watch us, you're already doing so you know how to do it. All right, so yeah,
all right. Got him.
guys, you can follow us on Twitter at It's Not So Subtle. Same on Instagram, and there's definitely one more with that same
Twitch.
Yeah, you can email us. Please email us at it's not so subtle at gmail.com. We take criticisms. Oh, the other one I was going to say is Facebook. It's
Not so subtle,
facebook.com/it's not so
Okay.
subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for that. Jordan, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Killamilla on Twitter and Instagram and other social media stuff and video game websites, Twitch, where you can sometimes I haven't streamed lately, but you can find us on there too. You can also find my anime blog, Tenzo-Taicho on Tumblr, if you want to see that fun stuff. Yeah. Dane?
If you would like to follow my adventures on social media, Twitter, Instagram, I guess Twitch, Lane to Point, and then of course Pornhub. I mean,
of course.
Why not? And then also, actually, starting this Sunday, you'll be able to find me at church because I believe in miracles after pulling Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge.
Calabar's
I still
Boogaloo.
don't believe it.
This is, Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Electric Boogaloo this is...
A miracle.
This is an act of God.
We have to, like, record our reactions.
To the movie?
We have to record a commentary track.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
I don't know if we can do that.
That might be kind of fun. This is just wild. So, yeah, if you want to follow me on social medias, feel free. There's... what was I going to say? There's a lot of big games coming out soon. Mario Odyssey, Wolfenstein 2, Destiny on PC, which I may or may not be getting. I'm not sure about that yet. But with that being said, a lot of stuff might be being streamed on Not So Subtle. So if you're curious about any new games coming out or that have come out recently, keep your eyes on itsnotsosubtle.com or really on Twitch. I might stream Evil Within, maybe Shadow of War if anyone cares. Probably Wolfenstein, stuff like that. So.
Oh, fucking gay.
Let's go, dude.
Let's go.
Guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CoulterPotter. That's going to do it for this episode here, guys. Miracles have been made.
I believe in miracles.
I'm so shocked a little bit.
It is entirely unexpected.
But in a way, completely expected that this, of course, would happen. This is the only possible way this should have and could have happened.
And I just feel really, I feel blessed to have witnessed this moment with you guys.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's amazing.
And it's been recorded, so we good.
It's so good.
All right, guys. Check out our Halloween Spectacular next episode. It's going to be lit.
We should think of something to actually do.
I would be...
Let's go trick-or-treating for the next episode.
Keep your eyes peeled on our social media. We might, tease some shite.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys, and have a great night.
Thanks.
Happy Halloween!